Hi everyone, welcome back to Rays of Tarot and welcome if you are new. My name is Stella and in today's really exciting pick a pile reading we are doing, we're just uncovering what kind of karma, what kind of karmic cycle pattern you and your person, whoever it is that you're thinking about, are currently resolving or going through together. So these piles were very, very interesting. There was definitely like a common red thread, a common theme for all these piles, so definitely it would not be surprising at all for this video specifically for you to be called to either multiple or all piles. Although the energies were definitely very different, so whatever, do whatever you want. You will know what your intuition is calling you to do. But essentially what we're going to do is, for each pile, we're going to first do a little bit of an energy check, and we're going to look into a person A versus person B format type of reading, in which we're going to look at you and your person's energies regarding this connection at this time, and kind of seeing the patterns and the issues that are like surfacing between the two of you. And then we're going to look with some more oracles into the karmic energy of the connection. And then we're going to pull some tarot with even more in-depth information about the patterns and the struggles that you guys are currently going through together. And then last but not least, with some more tarot, we are going to look into what it is that you need to integrate or focus on or do in order to move past and forward from these patterns and struggles. So and at the end, of course, we're going to take some advice as well as some Rebel deck cards, which I love always to do. So I think that's all the information I need to give you guys. Yeah, all the disclaimers are down below, so definitely, as per usual, use your own discernment. You will know which messages are for you and which ones aren't. These are collective readings. Now, for the piles, we do have 3 piles to choose from today. The first one is the Modern Goddesses Tarot, with this beautiful celestite crystal cluster. Then for pile number 2, we have the Journey of the Sacred Bee Tarot with this apophyllite cluster. And then on pile number 3, we have the Fountain Tarot with this selenite block thingy right here. So yeah, that's it for the piles. Feel free to choose whatever you want. Obviously, multiple, just one, it's fine. Do whatever you want. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you in your pile. Hi, pile 1. If you chose the Modern Goddesses Tarot as well as this beautiful little celestite crystal cluster, this is literally the 4th time that I try to start this pile, and every single time something happens. So I'm trusting that this is going to be the good time to actually get going with the channeling and the filming. So this is going to be reading all about what you and your person, the person that you're currently thinking of. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship or romantic connection or interest. Could literally be any type of connection in your life at this time. But we're going to look into what karma are you guys resolving. So this is definitely going to be about probably some type of like recurring issue, some type of problem, or like, what's the word? Some type of tension that you guys are facing within this connection. So what we're going to do first, I'm going to put these away because we're going to look into them in a minute. Probably going to be taking a little longer than a minute because I talk a lot. We're going to first look into a little bit of an energy check so you can understand whether this is your pile or not. We're going to do this in a person A versus in a person A versus person B format, so it's definitely up to you to figure out who is who, and it's more than normal for the energies to be a little bit like intertwined, so don't worry if you can find a little bit of yourself in both energies, because these are collective readings. So yeah, definitely just take the messages as they resonate for you personally. But let's dive right into person A first. So their energy is indicated by the Temple card with number 39. And then we have Faith, as well as disruption. I'm just going to put these on top of each other because space reasons. Then we also have I regard all altars with respect. We also have authority, number 10. The frequency of authority reminds us that true authority is powerful, directed, and realized, yet receptive, wise, and loving. Then we also, what the hell? Why are these cards sticking to each other? Well, that's awkward. Number 25 or 7 in numerology. Will over time, your charge is to enlarge. My cats are fighting currently, so apologies if you hear anything weird. I guess I'm just gonna... oh well. And then last but not least, for person A, we have the first house with individuality, self-image, and approach to life. Then moving on to person B, they are represented by the siren with number, what is that? Number 18. And also rejection. We also have I am humble. We have 2 of these cards. The first one is the Merkaba with number 32 or 5 in numerology. And this card reads, the frequency of the Merkaba supports our ability to use our consciousness to traverse, is that the word? I'm not sure. Into other layers of reality and dimensions. It activates our access to our Akashic inheritance as well, merging the totality of our experience into our present to serve our highest purpose. And also number 33 or 6 in numerology with miracle. The frequency of miracle supports our belief in ourselves as a part of source, and therefore our belief that anything is possible. Then for person B, we also have number 45 or 9 with divine drunkenness, serenity or spiritual reverie. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that one correctly either. And last but not least, we have the second house, number 26 or 8 in numerology with owning. Now, let me check real quick if everything is... if everything is on camera. Yeah, that looks fine. That looks all right. I think this should do. Should I? Okay, this should work. Okay, so pile 1. This could very well be like a friendship or even like a family member. Just do keep in mind that if any romantic or like sexual messages come through, I don't know yet, because I find out the information about the piles like as I go with you guys. Definitely do keep in mind that this could be for some people friendship, for some other people it could be romantic, so definitely filter out the messages as they fit for your situation, since these are collective readings. In terms of zodiac signs coming through, we do have Taurus on person B, and we do have Aries with the first house and the second house. Aries for person A. I am getting strong fixed energy. Actually, on both sides, a little bit of fixed energy, but I will get into that in a bit. But the fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And then I think that's the only sign that I'm getting for now. Yes, so... Oh, and we do have a little bit of Pisces or like water signs, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio with the siren being present here. And a little bit of Earth with the temple, so Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. So in terms of what you guys might be struggling with each other is... This could have something to do with like spiritual beliefs or like religious beliefs. It doesn't have to be for everyone, but there is definitely something about like your belief systems. There is some type of clashing between how you two either like view the world, view spirituality. There's definitely some type of clashing about your belief systems. So starting by person A, I feel like this person has a little bit more of a fixed type of view on things like spirituality and like learning and personal development and growth, and in terms of like how this person might have a very like fixed and structured, like they might be a fan of like structure and routines and just having things go in a very stable and evolved and like planned and organized type of way, whereas the siren person B is a little bit more eclectic, if that makes sense. So a little bit more they like to go a little bit more with the flow. They like to see things from different perspectives. They might be into, like the siren person might be into exploring different religions and different spirituality, like sources, different teachers, different perspectives. They might also, I'm getting things like, they might be into things like ancient civilizations and discovering like ancient wisdom, like ancient Egypt and Atlantis, and like they might be into things like conspiracy theories or like unraveling all those things, or like the occult. So like magic and like witchcraft and those things. It doesn't have to be for everyone, but this is definitely the vibe that I'm getting from person B, the Siren person. That they're a little bit, they like a little bit of everything. They don't have like one specific system that they like to follow, like one specific belief system that they like to follow. And this does not have to do only with like spirituality and spiritual belief, but this could literally just be in general, like the way that they learn and that they like to learn. Yeah, the Siren person, it wouldn't surprise me if they had some type of like 8th house or like Scorpio placements, because they definitely do come across as someone who likes to uncover the deeper levels and the deeper layers of things and of everything. And it's like they have a hunger for knowledge and a hunger for like uncovering the truth. So I'm getting also Aquarius vibes. It's like their thirst and hunger for knowledge and knowing more and diving deeper is never quenched or is never satisfied. Whereas person A, the Temple person, they might now these are just going to be examples. It doesn't have to be literally like that. So definitely, again, take it as it resonates for you personally, for your situation personally. But the Temple person might either like follow one specific religion or one specific like spiritual school. They might have like one specific teacher or one specific like a YouTube channel or like a specific author that they like to follow. They might have a specific like figure or like spiritual guru that they like to follow. This person definitely comes across as they might have Taurus or Virgo indeed vibes. Also Cancer, I'm getting. Cancer is like very traditional. Yeah, I'm getting the Hierophant vibes in tarot, so I'm curious to see if that will come out. I mean, it doesn't have to, because this is just like the energy check, but there's definitely something about this person liking things to be more in a box that they can control and that they can have like an overview on, if that makes sense. And they might not like the fact that the siren, or like they might get a little triggered or uncomfortable when the siren kind of like challenges their beliefs and their ways of doing things. I feel like the Temple person might like work really hard to get to a certain point or to get to a certain conclusion. And when it comes to, for instance, like finding a solution to a problem, or like finding an approach to something, to like either personal growth or like emotional healing, or like something about their job. This could be literally anything. Or perhaps how to fix things like within the connection. Like it's like the Temple person works really hard to come to a specific conclusion and come to a specific point. And then the Siren person might come across and be like, oh yeah, but what about this? And what about that? But what about like, you know, trying to come at the Temple person with all these different perspectives. And it's really disruptive to the Temple person, because it's like, oh my God, like I reached this point with blood, sweat, and tears, and now you're kind of like pulling me out of this comfort zone. See, the Temple person is definitely someone who appreciates their comfort zone. They really like things to be known and under their control, and they might be very quick to dismiss anything that is not within their belief system or within their understanding even. Yeah, I was just pulled to look at these. It has two like earth symbols on here. That should be the earth sign. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm getting, for some of you, this might be like a parental figure, because with this authority card, I'm always getting Capricorn vibes. Like a masculine father figure. This could be literally like someone's grandpa. It doesn't have to be. It could literally be like a partner or a friend. But this person definitely doesn't like to come out of their comfort zone. They kind of like might like things to be as they have always been, or like they might like to do things as they have always done them. And that's literally not how the Siren person is. The Siren person is so the opposite. The Siren person likes to question everything. They love questioning other people. They love putting people like in kind of, just like making people question their beliefs. Like they really, really like this. Get out of your comfort zone and try new things. And oh, what about this thought? Like, have you considered this? And have you considered that? The Siren person might definitely be a little bit more, new agey into things like astrology and indeed like tarot cards. So for instance, for a lot of you, I'm getting that you might be the Siren person watching this. Doesn't have to be, but yeah, for how the vibes are coming across between these two people, you're likely to be the Siren person. There is a certain pride that is coming across in both of you. But there's definitely a certain pride. Like the siren person really enjoys making people think. That's again when I'm getting also perhaps like Gemini vibes. It doesn't have to be, but Gemini Aquarius. Now I'm getting those vibes. This person really almost also like rejects anything that is like set in stone. They don't like when things are set in stone. I'm getting also Sagittarius now. Doesn't have to be, again, this is just like we all have all signs and all houses in our chart, and they just express themselves in different energies. So sometimes we can be in a specific, like in Aries energy, even though we don't have a lot of Aries placements, you know, like it doesn't really matter. It's just extra confirmation for those who like to hear those things. Yeah, this person definitely likes to think outside the box. They always want to know more. They always ask, like, well, what if this? And where does this come from? Like, they like to, like, double check. Like, if they watch a documentary, they might be like, but where did they get this information from? Like, where did the funding come from? And, like, I'm getting also, like, they might be into, like, alternative healing systems, which, I mean, what does alternative healing mean? It's just original healing practices, if you will. I just got like free the nip. Should I cover this nip? Fuck it, I'm not gonna cover the nip. And my cat is currently in his litter box. Great. Let's see. Is there anything else here? Yeah, this the siren person might also be into like the temple person might be. Since they might like a little bit more comfort and a little bit more security and a little bit more, I feel like I'm trying to get a word, but it doesn't really come. So I hope it will come out at some point. Never mind. It's not coming right now, but it will come out if it needs to. I feel like the temple, in terms of like careers and like how they earn their money, if it applies, I feel like the temple person might be a little bit more prone to have like a normal like 9-to-5 job or just like a stable job, whereas the siren person might be a little bit more into like entrepreneurship, or like they might want to get into entrepreneurship if they currently do have a job, but they like if they're a student, if they just need to make like some money on the side or whatever, they might be more prone to want to be like an entrepreneurship or like own something of their own. Might be into crypto and like cryptocurrency, like trading, all those things. There's definitely something about the siren person wanting to be financially independent, whereas indeed the temple person doesn't mind depending on like a boss or like depending on like a paycheck. The temple person definitely likes being given directions or like being given, being offered solutions, be like following the norms and following solutions and following pre-given systems, if that makes sense. And they might have a lot of pride in the systems that they follow and like the belief systems that they agree with. Like they might be very like patriotic also almost for some of you, whereas the siren person might be like, no, I don't want to go on the beaten path. Like I just want to do something innovative, creative. I just want to create something great and create my own legacy, and I don't want to do what everyone else is doing. Like the siren person is definitely a little bit more alternative, whereas like in a few words, the siren person might be a little bit more eclectic and alternative and open-minded and expansive, and trying to broaden their horizons, whereas the temple person might be a little bit more like wanting to stay in their comfort zone and wanting structure and wanting organization. So definitely, in terms of, I can also see already something about, like we will see in the karmic energies and lessons for you guys in a minute in the next section of the reading, but definitely something that the siren person might be, there's a mutual disregarding and kind of like dismissing of each other's belief systems. Like the temple person might look at the belief systems and the ways of living and of being of the siren person and be like why would you do that, and the siren person might look at the temple person and be like why, like, can't you see that there's so much more outside of these systems, and can't you see that boosh it's raining outside, they're upset they can't go out. But there's definitely a mirroring obviously, because we're all mirroring each other. And if you're aware of the fact that we're all mirroring each other, then congratulations. And if you think now we're not mirroring each other, then you're just not aware of the ways in which you and this person are mirroring each other. But there is definitely a pride and an ego attachment and an identity attachment that both these people have, that both of you have in this connection. And you're kind of trying to have the other person agree with you. It's like you're kind of like looking low-key, subconsciously, this might be looking for validation and approval from the other person, because the siren person wants the temple person to get out of the comfort zone, and the temple person wants the siren to kind of like settle and stop being so chaotic and so, yeah. So again, here with I am humble on the siren person's side, like the siren person might be a little bit overtly or like overtly like very loudly kind of like dismissive of the temple person's comfort zone. So they might kind of like criticize them or like actively try to challenge them and be like, hey, why do you keep following all this? Like, have you thought about this and that? And the temple person might definitely dismiss all the things that the siren person says just because they don't fit within their existing belief systems. So I think I've made that clear. Now moving on to the next section of your reading. I don't know why I'm speaking like that. Some of you might, that was definitely not a French accent, but for some reason I feel called to say some of you might be French. Sorry for the horrible accent thing. That was definitely not Anyways, so the karmic underlying lesson energy for you guys' connection, we do have number 26, intimacy. The energy of intimacy supports us trusting that we are safe to allow closeness. We also have the number 4, and we have the 10th house. We also have the sun, number 1. And we have friendship. I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason. And last but not least, we have acceptance. I'm learning to accept the things that I cannot change. Let me change up this setup, because let me see if everything fits. Yes. So the very first thing before... Okay, so I'm gonna try this again because I was already talking and the camera stopped filming twice. Luckily, I hadn't said a lot, but I did say a few things. So I will need to check the camera every now and then again a little bit because I don't want to talk to absolutely no one and have to do it all over again. So the first thing coming through for you guys to learn, like what you guys are here to learn karmically, what you guys are here to trigger each other into awakening to, is that you both are narrow-minded in your own unique ways. And pay attention, because if you are the siren person, you might be protesting to this statement and be like, that's not true because I follow all these different things and I don't have like one set belief, like one set system of beliefs and everything. That's like a very big Aquarius energy. It wouldn't surprise me if you had like a lot of Aquarius energy, or like the siren person had a lot of Aquarius energy or a lot of 11th house placements. But hear me out. Okay, so for instance, you have one person who is like person A, who is into religion A, and they're like super convinced that their religion has all the answers and that their religion is the correct way of going on things and that their path will lead them to redemption and salvation and whatnot. And then you have person B from religion B who like, they absolutely know that their practices and their beliefs and their methods and their path is the correct one, and that's what will heal the world eventually. And then you have person C from religion C, and they're like, my prophet had all the answers, and my prophet and my systems and beliefs and my sacred texts, like they are the correct ones. And then you have person B, which is very likely who the siren person is in this case. Person D is like, you're all foolish, it's just one part of the bigger picture, and there's no answer, like neither of you is correct. There is a little bit of truth in everything, so you're all wrong actually in just following one specific path, and you're not seeing outside of these boxes. The thing is, there is truth in all 4 of those. So even person B, aka the siren person, there is truth in all those aspects. Like if at the end of the day, they're all saying the same thing in different ways. So the fact that you're like, you're strongly mirroring this stubbornness and this kind of like being set in your ways to each other. And you can both learn from each other. You can both, like, you both are right in your unique ways and you both are wrong in your unique ways. Does that make sense? I feel the need to keep checking it. Okay, we're still going. This 4, yeah, I'm getting like Cancer and Capricorn could be, Sun is Leo, so, well, Capricorn and Cancer are cardinal, but they're very traditional signs as well. And you guys are both also basically being invited into, instead of like turning away from each other and kind of like hoping to change the other person's mind and hoping that the other person will agree with you and kind of like trying to make this person see that they're wrong, what you guys are like on a spiritual level inviting each other, what these clashes are like inviting you to do is to kind of like sink in where you're at and kind of like really, really listen to this other person and accept, with this acceptance, I'm learning to accept the things that I cannot change, to accept that this person is who they are and to kind of like let them be who they are. There's this very paradoxical aspect to Aquarius, like the sign of Aquarius. The sign of Aquarius is just like the most paradoxical sign. And I absolutely love that. It's like Aquarius, it's an air sign, but it's the water bearer. It's all about freedom, but it's a fixed sign, so it's very set in their ways. It's very fixed. It's all about like humanitarianism and society and trends, but it's also at the same time very like in need of a lot of isolation, and they're like, they want to be unique and stand out. So like they're the trendsetters, but they also want to stand out and be unique. It's like this hermit mode kind of energy almost. So Aquarius is very quick to judge others for being, and Aquarius is like the super ego too. Aquarius is in shadow. This is just like in shadow. I'm not judging you guys, by the way. This is just like illustrating, if it applies to you. It's not like a negative judgment, but like the shadow side, one of the shadow sides of Aquarius is like that they're very quick to judge others for being very set in their ways, whereas they don't see, they lack, like they don't see that they're kind of like set in their ways. And when you're arguing with an Aquarius, so like with someone who has very strong Aquarius placements, yes, I'm talking from experience. So like again, if you have very different experiences with Aquarius placements, that's awesome for you. But a pattern that I have observed with Aquarius placements is that they kind of like need you to agree with them. Like they're arguing with you with the goal of you agreeing with them. Whereas Leo placements are more like arguing with you to show, like to prove to themselves that they're right. Like Aquarius kind of needs you to agree with them. Does that make sense? That does, obviously that's going to apply only for those of you who actually like, for who these signs are present in this connection. But yes, so, and the 10th house is all about reputation. It's all about, it's also in a certain sense about like structures and keeping things as they are and kind of like keeping them, what is it called? Oh my god, why can't I speak suddenly? Okay, let's just pull the tarot because I don't want to... Oh god, so chaotic. Yeah, there's a very hard time for you both to like understand each other, and that's because you're kind of like too focused on your own individual experiences. There's more of a need to like understand each other and to see where the other person is coming from. This is definitely a lesson that you guys are both meant to learn with each other and just like kind of like let the other person be and accept that this is who they are and how they are, and this is who like this is what makes them them and what makes them unique and what makes them special. Yes, so and I don't know if I already mentioned this since I was cut off like twice. I tried to start this part twice, but also one of the main lessons that you guys are in for basically with this connection is that you both have a part of the truth. Like there is truth in both of your points of view. Like neither of you is right, neither of you is wrong. Both of you are right, both of you are wrong, and in your own unique special ways. and actually wanting to, like, developing a wanting to listen to the other person more with this intimacy card coming through will actually benefit and kind of like bring you guys both much, much closer, rather than getting defensive or trying to prove your point to the other person and trying to kind of like gain the upper hand of the argument, of the discussion. Because there's definitely something about like trying to stay right, trying to keep and maintain your point and show the other person that you're right. Although I'm getting specifically for the temple person, so like person A, they might be a little bit more defensive and being like, leave me alone, like stop trying to bother me, like stop trying to challenge my beliefs. So that's definitely also something that they might be like, both of you would benefit from opening their minds a little bit more and kind of like opening your minds towards directions that you might have been reluctant to, because there's a reason why you both keep clashing constantly like that with each other. So Spirit, what about this karmic cycle? I feel like I didn't think about this beforehand. Should I pull? Yes, okay, so one row about like the karmic cycle and clarifiers to tell us a little bit about what you guys can do to overcome this and to bring harmony and to actually bring progress into this karmic lesson that exists between the two of you. I feel like arguments or discussions might get a little messy. And yeah, there's definitely a blockage or like a barrier between what you guys are saying to each other, because it's like, you know that quote of like, are you listening or are you waiting to respond? Or like, are you listening or are you formulating your answer already? There's a lack of listening here for sure. And both people involved might just feel like they are unheard and almost rejected, I'm getting. Because yeah, there's just like a lack of common ground, and you don't need to, like, the goal of an argument or like a discussion, like, it's fine to have disagreements and to disagree on certain things, and it's fine to not have the same exact belief systems about everything. The goal of a discussion, like the resolution, it doesn't have to look like agreeing with everything. It should just be finding understanding for the other person and trying to integrate and trying to keep that into consideration while approaching them. Because if you guys might, I'm getting for some of you, this might also have something to do with diet and potentially veganism or vegetarianism, in which the Siren person might be indeed like the one with different dietary. This will not resonate for everyone, but or they might be into like raw fruitarianism or something like that, or keto, paleo, whatever, something like that. Although I'm getting, if it's the case of like keto and paleo, it might be the temple person. It could be interchangeable. It really doesn't matter the semantics exactly, but this definitely could have something to do with diet as well. And it would just create a lot more harmony if both people just accepted like that. I feel like I don't even want to go into this discussion right now. So you know what? I'm just gonna pull the cards. I feel like I've said enough, so that will apply to your situation as it applies. But yeah, I feel like there might be a lot of like avoidance of certain topics, and when you encounter certain topics, it might be just super uncomfortable, super annoying and frustrating, because you already know that the other person is just not going to listen and is just not going to agree, and is just kind of like going to give you shit for your opinion and your lifestyle, your beliefs. So tell us a little bit more, Spirit, about this karmic cycle that these two people are in. I'm going to take 4 cards. We have the 5 of Cups, yeah. We have the 7 of Swords, absolutely. What else about this karmic cycle that these two people are kind of facing with each other? We have the 2 of Pentacles. What else? What is the karmic lesson here? What is the karmic lesson? Okay, so I feel like I need to take the World card. And these 2 cards, I guess. Okay, we're just gonna take 6 instead of 4. That's fine. Yeah, we have Judgment and the Hierophant, so that's not surprising. Yeah, everything is in frame. Nice. So again, we do have the fixed signs with Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo, and Taurus. We do have Pluto with Scorpio again, and Taurus again with the Hierophant. So on the bottom of the deck, we do have, well, the Devil, which is Capricorn. So that's some extra confirmations for those of you who need it. So I feel like both of you, yeah, this definitely might be something to do with like who is the authority here. And this might definitely be something that applies a little bit more to person A. Like they feel like they need authority. They feel like they need people around them to agree with them. Because of their reputation. Like there's definitely something about both of you having this identity, ego attachment to your beliefs, and there is a dedication, like a ruthless dedication to maintaining your standpoint, and that has a lot to do with pride. Like this is the word that keeps coming up. I'm like pride. You also don't trust the other person to be gentle or like to be understanding, and therefore you already go into the discussion with like this kind of like mindset of I need to defend myself, I need to put my foot down, I need to stand up for myself, and I really need to shout and to make myself be heard because this person is not going to put any effort. And this is reflected in both of you. And it's like you really try to defend. There's a lot about defensiveness. You really try to defend your standpoint. And you're only looking at kind of like the negative experience of this entire experience, indeed, while you're not looking at how can I, because like even developing understanding for the other person is also going to be, what is it called, like comforting and relieving for you. And you will see that if you have like recurring arguments, as soon as one person starts becoming more understanding, the other person also loosens up. If one person gets their defenses up and starts shouting, the other person will respond in the same way. Like that's the mirroring. There might be a lot of shouting going on between the two of you, of just like discussion with like raising your voice. And raising your voice or like shouting is literally just because you don't feel heard, so you feel like you need to be louder and louder. You know, that's why when people are very intimate and very close and very cozy with each other, they're often whispering to each other. And that's because you don't feel like you need to be that loud because you feel close to this person anyways. But let's see, what is the lesson that they have to learn? So what is some behaviors or some energies that they should both focus on and integrate to overcome this cycle, please, for pile 1? So we have the Three of Swords and the Moon. Let me just put these a little bit, let me see. Okay, so we do have space. I'm gonna put that there. Yes, fine. It is here. These cards are big. So I'm just gonna put that back. We do have the Moon, which is more Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer energy. Yeah, there might also be something about like gender roles or something like that, or who does what in the house if you guys are living together. What else does pile 1 have to like integrate with their person? Oh, and then that shot away. We have the Queen of Swords. What else is being needed to be integrated? Page of Pentacles in reverse. And do I have to take one more? Okay, this one, I think, okay, this is it. If I need to pull more cards, we will. But okay, so the message is pretty straightforward. There is a lot of need for introspection and understanding where your own behaviors stem from, like existing trauma, because I feel like you guys both are like re-traumatizing each other, like reinforcing existing trauma of not being heard, not being understood, of being cast away for some of you. And there's a pattern, like obviously, because this is what this entire reading is about, is like about karmic patterns that are resurfacing. There's a need for finding the core wound and sitting with yourself and kind of like validating, like a lot of inner child work might be needed with this Page of Pentacles in reverse. I'm just looking at my cat, he's just like laying belly up. So there might be a need for you and this person to spend some like innocent, playful, joyful time together. Because I feel like there might be a lot of tension existing with the two of you. And there might also be a need for, with the Six of Wands coming through, there might be a need for the both of you to focus on, rather than, you might have heard this, I feel like this is something that you might be hearing over and over again, and that's because it's like a very important message that Spirit and the universe is trying to convey to you. It's like, it's you and this person versus the problem. It's not you with your opinion versus this person and their opinion. Like, you don't have to agree with everything. You can stand powerfully in your opinion and in your views and still be harmonious with this other person, and still find like some type of middle ground, or like a third way that makes everyone involved happy. There's definitely deep need for reflection for the both of you, and see how you yourself are perpetrating your own hurt by being so stubborn, and by kind of like needing. There's this quote coming to my mind, which I don't recall who said it, but it goes along the lines of, we are at our most powerful when we don't feel the need to be powerful. Because the moment that you feel the need to prove yourself, it just means that you, within your own opinion, you're shaky. Like, you're not, the truth doesn't need defending. If you are certain within yourself and confident and powerful within your stances, you don't need the other person to agree with you. Like, it's a matter of boundaries as well. Not so strongly, because I mean, boundaries, yeah, they're always, you can always put boundaries in every type of situation, I guess. But what is this? Crown of Cups. Yeah, King of Cups. There's definitely this need also of not coming into discussions and disagreements from a place of purely emotion. Because there's definitely, again, like, I keep getting like pride, there's a lot about like maintaining your image in front of this person and not wanting to admit that you're wrong, which again, neither of you is truly wrong. Both of you have a little bit of truth. Like, there's truth to everything. There's truth to all points of view. You watching this are seeing one side of the truth, and the other person is seeing likely the opposite, or just like another side of the truth. And honestly, I feel like a message that is coming through for you guys is like, you guys have more in common than you know. If you would only like drop your guards and drop your defenses and truly listen and try to find the commonalities between the two of you, you would be surprised at how much you actually agree on. What was that? Queen of Wands, Wheel of Fortune. I don't know. I just saw a card, but I'm not entirely sure which one it was. It doesn't matter. So Aries was confirmed again. Yeah, that was it. Let me see if anything else needs to come through. Yeah, there might be, some of you might struggle within this connection with having either party or both parties trying to attack the other as a defense mechanism. It's like the rose that has thorns. Or like military bases that have like barbed wire. It's like, it's a defense mechanism that works by kind of like hurting the intruder. So think about like a snake that attacks, or like any type of animal that attacks you because they are afraid. Like, they attack you, they go in outwards like Mars mode to hurt their opponent because they're afraid of being hurt. So definitely try to understand also, if this person, if like whoever you are, whether the Siren person or the Temple person A or person B, if the other person comes at you like attacking you, be aware that it's a defense mechanism. And if you also have the same thing in which you like try to attack or feel the need to kind of like have a grasp or like have a grip on this person, it's also a defense mechanism. So there's definitely something about being confident within yourself and finding peace and quiet within yourself, and like understanding why you are approaching the situation, why like in the way that you do, and understanding where this need of yours to impose yourself or to have this person understand you, like agree with you. Because obviously like needing to be understood is a very valid thing. But also not everyone is going to truly be able to understand. Like people can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves, and like they can only ever see you from the understanding that they have of the world and of themselves. So we're never going to be able to understand everyone fully, and we're never going to be able to understand everything fully and to be understood by everyone fully. And that's sad, but I'm also getting a quote by Alan Watts. It's not necessarily a quote, it's a concept that he wrote in his book, The Wisdom of Insecurity. And it's about like insecurity comes from this need, like this attachment to the need for security. It's because we want things to be secure that we get insecure, because then we start thinking about, oh, what if I don't have the security? What if things are wobbly? What if I lose this? What if I lose that? And the moment that we accept the futility and the volatility and the changeability and the inherent like changeability of everything, then we stop being so insecure. Like when you are like insecure about your appearance, it's because you want to be beautiful, you want to be pretty, you want to be perceived in a positive way, you want to be perceived as beautiful. And once you realize and kind of like come to terms with the fact that, first of all, no one is going to see me as beautiful, because that's like a subjective thing. Like even culturally, it's a subjective thing. Like it changes. Like not everyone agrees on everything at all. Like it's just very subjective. But also at the same time, when you realize like, why I don't have to be beautiful to be, or like I don't have to be pretty to be accepted, or to be loved, or to be appreciated, or like to have a good time, or like to like enjoy things, or to enjoy intimacy with people. Like it's not a necessary condition. And that's why you start to like loosen your grip on this need to be perceived in a certain way. Does that make sense? So I feel like that's all. I just heard like let go of the need to be right, let go of the right to be right, like let go of the idea that you need to win an argument, because that's just kind of not the point. Does that make sense? So I'm gonna take advice for you guys now. This is the Starseed Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. All of my decks are always listed down below for those of you. I can't shuffle. Oh my god. Okay, so what advice do you have? All right. See, yeah, the golden children, inner child, tenderness, innocence, rare gifts. So definitely try to, I need to take a sip of water. Excuse me, guys. Okay, so it stopped filming again. That might definitely be also the energy of you guys kind of like abruptly. I'm just going to stand and look at my camera because I don't want to keep talking to absolutely nothingness. It might be definitely the energy in which you guys are in which you're talking to each other and kind of like abruptly stopping discussing because it's going nowhere. There's, with this card coming through, there's definitely a need for both of you to do some like inner child healing, like looking at where these indeed, like as I mentioned, where does the inner disruptive energy that you feel during these disagreements, where does it come from? It probably comes from some type of like unmet need stemming from your childhood. And there's also like a need for like dropping your defenses and kind of getting more into this vulnerable state. And instead of using the same approach over and over, when you're discussing with each other, when you're arguing with each other, try to drop more into that tender, innocent state of being like, hey, I really don't like this energy between the two of us. And I wish we would have more, what is the word? More understanding. And I just want it to be harmonious. And it makes me feel really sad or really frustrated when we argue like this because it's just uncomfortable, something like that. And then we also had this card, Earth School. Life lessons, soul growth, study, higher learning. I did actually read from the book, but it wasn't recording, so let me just take it out again. You can screenshot it, but the part that I will read again is the second part, which says, If you pull this card while you're going through a difficult time, you're being prompted to remember that your soul came here to grow and learn. Try not to look at difficult times as getting it wrong. Instead, see them as opportunities for soul growth. If you can find a way to grow and soften your heart through the highs and lows, your soul is most definitely growing, which is the whole point. And then it also said, life lessons aren't only about getting it right, they're also about getting it wrong, and remembering that Earth is a planet of polarity helps with this understanding. Each year the study deepens more and more. You can definitely read the rest as I pull more advice for you guys. And yeah, there's definitely also like a need for asking yourself, like, how am I holding myself back, and how am I perpetuating this cycle within myself? Like, what is my attitude that is pushing me to act the same way over and over again? And how am I kind of like pushing myself to keep going through this process? And also, what can I learn from this person? Which doesn't necessarily mean that you should agree with this person, but what is anything that you admire about this person? What is anything that you can learn from or that you can appreciate, and perhaps like express that to them? What is something that pile 1 and their person need to integrate or focus on? What is something that needs to be integrated here for pile 1, please? So I don't feel like we have to take these. I'm just going to keep shuffling. Okay, we did have to take this one. So Cosmic Flower, number 18. The frequency of Cosmic Flower activates a remembrance of the place we call home, the core from which we pour our magnificence into the world. Maybe I'm just going to keep shuffling. I'm not getting anything specific with that card. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I was getting definitely this difficulty understanding each other, because the goal of you guys' discussions are not truly of understanding each other, but you're just trying to prove your point, which kind of leads naturally to no understanding. It's just separation, essentially. Well, what you want truly at the end of the day, this card is coming out again, third eye chakra. I'm just gonna put that out. What was I saying? Yes, at the end of the day, when these things happen, when there is disruption, at the end of the day, all you want is that reconnection, that connection. Like, disruption is uncomfortable. Connection is what you want. So try to go for connection, any point of connection that you can find with each other. Like, usually when one person says like, hey, listen, I understand what you're saying, and what I'm saying is this and this and that, and the two things can coexist. Like, once one person softens, the other person mirrors that usually, and both people are like kind of softening and coming closer rather than separating, because this pattern is definitely keeping you guys separated from each other, while all you truly want and need is intimacy, is this closeness. What else is pile 1 with their person meant to integrate at this time? Allowance. The frequency of allowance invites us to be open to whatever comes our way, without judgment, without opinion, without fear, and without resistance. When we allow, the universe becomes our partner in the wondrous dance of existence and expansion. Yeah, it's kind of like allowing this person also to be as they are, and to have their perspectives, and to have their experiences, and learning that they're existing in their unique way as much as you are existing in your unique way, and neither of you is right or wrong. Okay, now to close out, we do have, this is one of my favorite decks ever, the Rebel deck, which also says 0 filter, 0 Fs, all fun. So definitely do take these messages with a pinch of salt. Do what you want with these messages. You don't have to take them. But what's a message for pile 1? Get over yourself, put your shit together, help people, give back, do good shit for humanity. Yeah, so finding a little bit more altruism and understanding for this person. That's what I'm getting with this one. But we don't even need to read into these. These Rebel deck cards are awesome in themselves. They broke your heart. F them. You do you. Stop trying to change people. That shit never works. See, this is an extra confirmation. Believe what you see. Face reality, or live in fucking La La Land. Choose bravely. I want to take another 2 messages for this pile, and then we're just gonna call it a day. So this pile, what is our messages? So I'm just going to take this. You are loved. You are here for a reason. Don't F it up. And I actually feel like we're just going to gonna close it on that one, pile one. Thank you so much for being here. Definitely feel free to leave me a comment down below, letting me know how it is resonated. As per usual, it means everything to me to know how my readings land on the other side of the screen, and I would love to hear. Also, feel free to leave a like and subscribe, that really helps with the algorithm. And again, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hi Pile 2, if you chose this beautiful apophyllite cluster as well as the Journey of the Sacred Bee Tarot, this is going to be reading all about what karma are you and your person. This doesn't have to be a romantic connection, although do keep in mind that sometimes romantic type of messages might come through because a lot of people are asking about those. But basically the question that we're going to be delving deep into is what karma are you and your person currently resolving. So this might definitely be about some type of recurring struggle that you and this person might be facing currently, or that's something that might keep looping, some type of pattern that you guys are facing together, and something that you feel like is really hard to get over or to like heal within the connection. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to put this to the side because this is for after. We're going to look into the energy of both of these people, both of you, in a person A versus person B format. So it's definitely up to you to decide who is who. It shouldn't be confusing. If it is, this is probably not your reading. Also definitely do keep in mind that when it comes to karma, there might always be some type of like mutual mirroring type of energy. So it's more than normal for you to find a little bit of yourself and your person in both parts, since these are also collective readings. So obviously not every single message is going to apply exactly as it's brought over to every single person watching this. Yes, so you should definitely be able to find your you and your person, or at least the pattern of the problems occurring between the two of you at this time in this part of the reading. And if this resonates, congratulations, you found your pile. Afterwards, we're going to dive into the energy of the connection as well as the tarot to basically find out a little bit more about these patterns and what you can do and what needs to be integrated to solve and get through these patterns. So I think that should cut it. Let's dive into it straight away. So for person A, we have the Forest with number 36. We have two of these. What is this deck? This is a cool little deck. It's like the Hero's Journey Dream Oracle. We have two of these cards. First one is you won the lottery with number 38. Make room for wonderment. I'm going to stack these on top of each other. And the second one is 27 or 9. In numerology, flip it upside down, question your beliefs. Then for person A, we have the North Node with destined to have. We also have cleanse with some watery vibes. And with change, number 12 or 3 in numerology, this card reads, the frequency of change supports our ability to gracefully dance with the forever changing nature of reality, both inward and outward, so that we can appreciate the sweet release of the old and the birth of the new. And last but not least, for person A, we have I am peaceful. Now for person B, why did I do that? I don't know. We have the empty room with number 42. That should be number 42. We also have number 6 with there's no place like home, nestle into the sweetness. We have Yod with destiny, number 48 or 12 or 3 in numerology. Gonna scooch that over here. Then we also have hunger. We also have number 15, which reduces to 6 in numerology with compassion. And this card reads, the frequency of compassion supports our ability to stand by others without judgment and be the divine mediator between heaven and earth, spirit and matter, and so that unconditional love can flow from source through our heart and into the world. Jesus. And we also have I communicate with compassion. That's it. I don't know why I said that with that weird rhythm of voice. Anyways, so you guys, I'm not gonna lie, pile 2. This energy is quite intense. So I'm gonna say it straight away. You will know if it resonates. If it resonates, it resonates. Like if you know, you know. If you don't know, it's fine. Like it can still resonate. But this is definitely, it's giving me counterpart vibes, as well as light worker vibes. These are two old souls. These are two people that are highly conscious or at least on some type of like healing journey. I must say it wouldn't be surprising to me if all these piles had like the same type of core message, because there is a core message in this pile that is quite similar. It's kind of the same as pile 1, although the energies presented in these two people is like very different from pile 1. It could still resonate both if you were called to multiple piles. But yeah, I felt the call to say that. Let me first also start by saying that there's so much pure, deep, divine love between these two people. This is very likely romantic, so it could definitely, it doesn't have to be, but it does give me strongly romantic vibes. It wouldn't surprise me if these two people were not together or were not physically together. This might be long distance. There's definitely an element of runner chaser, of the empty room person being on the more anxious attachment side of the spectrum, and the forest person being more on the avoidance side of the attachment spectrum. And let me just also quickly mention that anxious avoidance and anxious attachment and avoidant attachment, they are two sides of the same coin. So the avoidant people, first of all, we all display all of like both of those traits essentially. There's no one who is only completely always 100% of the time really anxious and someone else who is like completely avoidant all of the time. We all present traits of both, and truthfully they're the same thing, just expressing itself in opposite ways. So again, there's like a yin yang element to these people as well, and definitely a strong degree of mirroring and a strong degree of opposition. It's almost like this magnetism in which like you guys are like, so basically it's like being exactly the same but also being complete opposites. If you know, you know. And that creates a lot of deep love and deep tension. Like this should be about like person A versus person B, and I keep wanting to talk about what is in common and like the energy of the connection itself, but that has its purpose. What I wanted to say is that people who are strongly avoidant, like the forest person, or like who tend to be more avoidant in their attachment style, they are avoidant because of specific reasons. Like the reason, like they didn't just wake up one day and be like, you know what, I'm just gonna avoid the living heck out of everything. Or like they didn't come out of the womb being avoidant. That's in the same way that the anxious type people don't come out of the womb completely anxious about everything, and they didn't like get anxious out of nowhere. Like there's very valid reasons, which is honestly, it always comes down to trauma and to coping mechanisms. It's just two different ways of dealing with pain, honestly, and with fears and with dealing with pain, essentially. What I keep wanting to say ever since the beginning that I never get to that point, so that I feel like that might be something that you guys struggle seeing, is that the avoidant person is avoiding confrontation, is avoiding emotions, is avoiding whatever it is that they are avoiding because they are anxious and they don't want to feel anxious. And like the person who is anxious doesn't want to feel alone in their feelings. Therefore, they kind of like put the expectations subconsciously, or like they put the need for them to feel comfortable onto the other person. That's why they get anxious. But we will dive a little bit more in depth, hopefully, in this reading, because I feel like that is a concept that is a little bit hard to bring across in this pile specifically. So that's definitely a concept that you guys both struggle with. Oh wow, I just noticed the similarity of these cards. Like they're both like, there's a bunch of cards in this deck, and they're all different shapes and different colors and different everything. These cards are both like a circle, and then only like a part of the picture is like filled with dots. Like look at how freaking, that's insane. Anyways, so both these people might struggle in one way, shape, or form with some type of addiction, some type of filling up the void, filling up. I do feel like these people struggle to see and hear each other clearly. And again, I should be speaking about first person A and first person B as well, but there's a sameness at the bottom of this connection. Like, you guys are essentially the same. Again, if you know, you know. Mirroring. It's interesting that you guys both had destiny coming through. So like, there's this deeply seated knowledge, like, you're my person, you're meant to be in my life. I'm not going anywhere. Like, both these people hold the other near and dear inside of their hearts, no matter what happens. Like, even if you guys, and I'm getting strongly that, even if you guys are not together, or like if you're not in a harmonious, peaceful type of connection, which, I mean, you are watching a reading about what kind of karma and traumas you're resolving together in this lifetime on a soul level. So that makes a lot of sense. But there's definitely a lot of harsh, hard turmoil within both these people that really comes out and manifests as clashing, and possibly a lot of pain and tears and discord between the two of you. There's this feeling of, you don't understand me, you don't see me, my needs are not being met, but also there's this feeling of, I don't want to let go of you completely because I love you so deeply, and it doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, you guys might have like recurring arguments or recurring fights, recurring stuff like that, and then at the end of the day, you'll always be like, I love you, I want this to be well, like, I'm going to do everything that is in my power to accommodate you, etc., etc. But this might still not be enough for things to actually be peaceful between the two of you. I keep getting this feeling of, this connection is so painful and so hurtful because there is so much love, but it seems, for the energy in which this connection is showing up, in which these two people are showing up, and it seems almost impossible to have harmony and peace. While that's all you desire with each other, but it seems almost impossible because there is such a like fundamental clashing. I'm also hearing something about compatibility. So like, in some senses, you guys might fit so well together, but there might be other things that are just like almost incompatible in that sense. Now, okay, so where do we start? Because this was like a little, I'm gonna have to like check every now and then, because in the last pile it just stopped filling every now and then. So let's start with the empty room person. This person is, as I mentioned, is a little bit more on the anxious attachment side of the spectrum, and there's definitely this feeling of them having this, them kind of being starved for love, for attention, for, I'm getting also physical touch. That's why I'm getting like an actual physical distance between these two people. Like, the first person might be someone who is into traveling, someone who is into, like, they might not want to be in the same place for too long, or they might not be non-committal, they might be polyamorous, whereas the empty room person might be strictly monogamous, and they might just want they desire comfort and coziness and this homely feeling and the simple pleasures in life. I'm getting Cancer and Taurus vibes. They just really want softness and simplicity and comfort and stability, and they want intimacy. They want to talk and feel and look at this person like often. They just desire this closeness all of the time, and I feel like there's guilt as I say these things. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if from you guys watching this, you would identify more with the empty room person, although it doesn't have to be. But there's this guilt that this empty room person has about their desires. Like, they feel like they are selfish, or like they're wrong for desiring this closeness. Like, they're wrong for desiring physical intimacy. Like, they're wrong for desiring like words of affirmation, like reassurance from the forest person. They feel like they don't want to restrict the forest person, but they really desire this closeness. And like, they might desire a lot of texting if you guys are like long distance or like physically separate. This empty room person really feels guilty, and like they almost suppress and gaslight themselves. Like, they suppress their own desires and their own needs. And I noticed, like, as soon as I started talking about this, it was hard to decide where I should start. So there is definitely a degree of enmeshment and of codependency. And this is not a negative judgment, you guys. Like, I'm saying this, like, you guys are coming through with all the love in the world. You don't have to listen to these messages if it's uncomfortable. If you're not ready to hear them for whatever, like there is a reason why you found this reading. But if you guys are uncomfortable or just like not liking the messages, you don't have to sit through this. Okay, like you have willpower. You can just click off and go do something else with your day. It's all good. But there's definitely a degree of enmeshment with each other in which it's like hard to understand what is mine and what is yours, what is my responsibility and what is your responsibility, what is my trauma and what is your trauma. Like these two people strongly trigger each other. Like the forest person's triggers trigger the empty room person. Like it's like this vicious cycle, this loop in which like person A gets triggered and person B gets triggered in response, and person B's triggers person A's trigger even more. And that's because there is this runner-chaser dynamic, this kind of like, I want closeness, and like the empty room person might want closeness, and the forest person might feel trapped or might feel needed. Therefore, they get even more distant, and that makes the empty room person feel even more needy, and that pushes the other person even more away. So like there's this like it's kind of like your demons are feeding into each other, if that makes sense. And the divine purpose of this is to truthfully, we will get there in a minute, but let me just mention real quick, like there's a reason why these types of people always kind of like attract each other. Like it wouldn't surprise me if the empty room person had more watery type of energy to them and the forest person had more air vibes to them, because there's this dynamic between air signs and water signs. Doesn't have to be astrologically relevant, but there's this dynamic in which there's this mirroring going on. The forest person needs to look at what they're avoiding, and the empty room person also needs to look at the fact that they have a lot of wounds that they kind of expect or need validation for, whereas it's not the other person's job to fill this void. Both these two people come through with like a certain void, let's put it that way. But I was saying, there's definitely something about this empty room person needing a lot of time on their own, truthfully, like at their core, what they need, and they wouldn't put it that way. They want closest, they want to be with the forest person, but what they truly need and what the empty room person is avoiding, truthfully, at the end of the day, is being alone with themselves. Like they hate being alone with their anxiety, and therefore they kind of need, or like they wish the forest person was there to soothe them. And there's nothing wrong with that necessarily. It just gets dysfunctional and unhealthy for yourself, for yourself, for the person experiencing this, because then you're putting yourself in a, I'm just saying you, but it could be your person, it could be you. But it's unhealthy and unproductive for anyone to kind of like depend on anyone else for emotional stability and emotional wellness. Like, of course, you can still desire closeness. There's nothing wrong inherently with desiring closeness and desiring communication and desiring company. But that should not be the only thing that can bring you satisfaction. It's like someone feeling, like a very simple example is someone being insecure about their appearance, being like, oh my God, I don't feel so pretty. And wanting the other person to tell them, oh, you look so beautiful today. Like, yes, that's going to feel good for like 3 seconds. But then the insecurity will come back, because there's like the forest person cannot fill this void. Like they cannot make up for the lack of security or the lack of confidence that this empty room person is experiencing. The empty room person is experiencing a lot of insecurities and anxieties and lack of self-confidence, lack of self-worth. And they wish they would receive this external validation from the forest person, which is likely not always giving it to them. They might give them glimpses of it, and that's why the empty person almost gets addicted to that. Like when it's lacking, they really need to have it. When they have it, they feel like everything is fine. When the forest person is with them and they're giving them that attention and that affection, like the empty room person feels soothed. And that is this empty room person's addiction. And it's interesting because I do feel like the forest person might be struggling with actual substance addiction, as a means to escape their feelings and their emotions, like their unwanted feelings and emotions. But the empty room person might just not be into all those things. Like also for sure could be the case, but if the empty room person is also like bothered and kind of like blaming the forest person for like dealing with addictions and not wanting to deal with their own feelings, this is just mirroring back at the empty room person that they themselves like they're being invited, the empty room person is being invited to look at, what am I addicted to? What is my addiction? And this addiction is external validation and needing to be fed confidence and love and affection and peace from the outside. Like they feel like they cannot get, like it's almost like the empty room person is putting their self-worth and their happiness and their sense of love and belonging into the forest person's hands. And that is really unhealthy for, first and foremost, for themselves, but also for the forest person, because the forest person is kind of like now they have this responsibility that is truly they cannot live up to, because that's not their job, and they literally cannot give that to the empty room person, because it's an inner struggle that the empty room person is going through, which is indeed like lack of self-love, lack of self-worth, lack of inner peace. And I do feel like the empty room person, I'm getting also Pisces vibes right now, or like Cancer vibes again, Taurus, doesn't have to be, but this person, it's interesting that we have the word compassion coming through twice. And we have the number 6 coming through twice as well, with this 15 and 6, no place like home. This person, the empty room person, so person B, they are so sweet and so soft and so caring, and they might be a little bit of a people-pleasing type of person as well. They don't want to create a fuss, they don't want to upset people, so that's why they kind of like always try to accommodate, and they will never ask the forest person to do anything, like to not leave, or to like not go on travels, or to like not be with other people. They will not ever ask them. They might get a little passive aggressive sometimes, and sometimes maybe like bottle things up. Like if, for instance, the forest person does something that actually really triggers the empty room person, they might show as if everything was fine and be like, oh yeah, sure, no problem, like that's all fine, because they think that they should be okay with it, whereas that's not the truth of what they truly feel. And that's why they kind of like bottle things up and suppress things, because again, they think that they don't have the right to feel upset by it, or that they don't have the right to feel hurt by it. Therefore they kind of try to push it down, they try to avoid those feelings and those pains, because it's uncomfortable and they don't know exactly what to do with it. But then obviously that doesn't work, and it kind of like spirals and bottles up and snowballs, and then kind of like they lash out and they might explode and kind of lash out at the forest person. So a lesson that for the empty room person, there's definitely something about communication for sure, but and a need for calm, compassionate communication, especially for the empty room person. They need to learn to have compassion first and foremost for themselves, and not gaslight themselves, and not suppress their own emotions, and tend to their own emotions first, so that they can also speak from a calmer and compassionate place to the forest person about their emotions, without putting the burden or the responsibility of their emotions on the forest person. See, I just used the word burden, but that's not even what I meant. But both these people might low-key feel like the empty room person's emotions are a burden. Like the empty room person might feel like they are burdening, like they don't want to burden the forest person with their emotion. This is definitely someone who grew up with intense emotions. Both these people feel things very, very deeply. But definitely the empty room person might have grown up with just very, very, very strong emotions, and they might have been told like, oh, you're too much, or you're too sensitive. This is definitely the classical example of, oh, you're too sensitive, which has in turn made the empty room person feel like indeed like it is too much, and they don't have the right to feel the way that they feel like. So that just results in a very unhealthy relationship that they have with their own emotions. So this is definitely a reflection. Both these people are, we will get into the forest person in a minute, but both these people through this relationship with each other are being shown the unhealthy coping mechanisms and the unhealthy dynamics that they have when it comes to their relationships to themselves first. Yes, and there's definitely this need for this empty room person to take care of themselves. I'm getting Queen of Cups vibes, to take care of themselves. Like they might be someone who's very nurturing and very caring and very sweet, and they just want to take care of people, and they just want to take care of the forest person, especially when the forest person is struggling. They just want to be there for them. And it's interesting because the forest person might want to retreat and be away and get distracted and not kind of like dwell on those more negative, like unpleasant feelings, while the empty room person might be like, no, let's talk about it, like let's just chill, like let me take care of you. but the empty room person first needs to learn how to do that for themselves. And that's really frustrating. And they might have been getting this message from left, right, and center. And that's because they haven't learned this yet, or they haven't looked at this fact yet. That they truly try a lot of the time to pour from an empty cup, and they have to tend to their own cup first. You need the Ace of Cups. Like the Ace of Cups needs, the first cup needs to be full before you can have this Two of Cups, this like sharing of beautiful, equal, abundant, caring, nurturing, mutually nurturing, and mutually caring type of love with each other. You cannot create the Two of Cups with empty cups. There's definitely to both these people, and now we're going to move on to the Forest person, but there's definitely a paradoxicality to both these people in which they have so much going on inside of them, like so many deep and intense emotions, but at the same time there's... And my camera stopped filming again. I don't know why. It used to be fine before yesterday. Why? What happened? Yeah, I will just have to check every now and then because it just stops filming. I don't know why. But anyways, I was saying there's definitely this paradoxicality in which both these people feel so many deep emotions when it comes to each other and just like about the world, about both people might just be very, very sensitive to like the collective emotions. That's what I'm saying. Like definitely light workers, definitely very, very highly sensitive people. These are not NPCs or NCPs. What was it? NPCs, non-player characters? Yeah, NPCs. These people are definitely not NPCs. But at the same time, there is this theme of emptiness and numbness. And this is obviously like, it reminds me again of like Pisces / 12th house vibes, in which these people who have strong Pisces or 12th house energies, they feel things so deeply and so intensely that it just becomes too much. And that if you don't learn how to properly channel those energies or like deal with those energies or like transform those energies, it just becomes too much. And that's why your system kind of shuts down, and that's why you stop feeling anything at all. And then that's why when the numbness kicks in. There's also, I mentioned before it stopped filming, that the empty room person might definitely be someone who has a very, very sweet tooth and who loves like sweets and just like pastries and like chocolate specifically. I'm getting chocolate and strawberry vibes. And they might love like simple meals, like very simple meals with simple ingredients, some cozy, easy to make, cozy, heartwarming, heart-nourishing, soul comfort type foods, whereas the Forest person might be more into like savory, like with a lot of different herbs and spices and like an explosion of flavors and more creative type dishes. So definitely the empty room person definitely might be a little bit more in routine, like they like comfort and they like the known things. That's also something that comes often with anxiety, like watching the same things over and over again, like listening to the same music. It's just because it's comforting to know what is coming, whereas the Forest person might always be looking for something new. Like they might always be wanting to create something new and like look for new recipes and try new cuisines and all those things. Now, moving on to the Forest person, I'm terrified that this is gonna stop filming again, so I'm just gonna look at the timer every 3 seconds. Maybe I should buy like a mirror thingy so oh, there you go, the mirror, so I can see from where I'm sitting. The Forest person. So they're definitely constantly escaping or trying to find ways to escape this maze that is their subconscious, and this maze, and that is the depth of their emotions. That's kind of like the vibes that I just got. Literally, again, it would not surprise me if this person would be into backpacking, into traveling. And I'm not saying that backpacking and traveling is inherently an escapist method. Like, it's awesome. Like, it's beautiful. Like, I think that's a beautiful way of spending your time and money and energy. But there's definitely a shadow side in which as soon as this person feels uncomfortable in one place, they're like, oh my God, I need to change my environment. Like, as soon as they feel uncomfortable with a person, or like as soon as they feel uncomfortable within a situation, they might just like leave the room or just like stop talking and be like, let's just not deal with this. Because they think that by not dealing with certain energies, that's how they get over them. But the truth of what is happening is that they're avoiding them, kind of trying to go around them and never really addressing the issue. So for instance, the forest person might find that whenever the empty room person is having strong emotions, they might indeed also like internally feel kind of like bothered by them and be like, okay, why do you need to feel so strongly about this? Like, this is not about you, this is not personal. And that's, again, like, that's definitely whenever they feel needed by the empty room, whenever they feel like called in or pulled in by the empty room person, they feel the need to pull away, to pull out, to get away. There's definitely something about this. Perhaps this person hasn't cried or like has a hard time crying, whereas the empty room person might be someone who actually cries a lot. And it's interesting because I was getting a huge wave of information about this empty room person, whereas now that I'm getting into the forest person, it's kind of a little bit less. So it definitely shows that the forest person has a harder time expressing their emotions or like even understanding what is going on with their emotions. They might be definitely someone who loves, like, I'm getting Sagittarius vibes, doesn't have to be astrologically relevant. These two people might have the same North Node or like the same Lilith or the same Chiron in the sign specifically like Libra or Cancer, or could be anything truthfully. But yeah, it's like this forest person is trying to figure themselves out. And they might do this also by like exploring, like, I'm getting like ancient civilization knowledge. They might be I can't talk. They might love exploring like philosophical knowledge. Like, they might love reading a lot. They might love learning about like the etymology of words. They might love learning about cultures, indeed, like visiting places and talking to all sorts of different people, because that's how they learn a lot also about themselves. And like it's almost like they avoid themselves by dealing with other things. Like, they want to learn about like aliens and the cosmos and go to places and learn about whatever it is that they love learning about. And that's kind of like a pattern, a mechanism that they have acquired to substitute their actual deep hunger. There's definitely a theme of hunger and needing. What was the word that I just used? Yeah, to substitute this hunger that they have to truly know themselves and get closer to themselves. It's like they're always running away from like the harder, from intimacy, I want to say. But they wouldn't call it like that. They're not aware of this likely. And if they are aware, they might have dismissed this kind of knowledge. Because again, it makes them uncomfortable. They don't know possibly how else to deal with it. And there's definitely there's a paradoxicality to both of these people, and there's a paradoxicality to the connection, and that's because this is just like a very, this person might have Aquarius vibes, Aquarius or Gemini, definitely. Yeah, again, I was getting, oh, and I'm getting like an Earth ruled Mars. That would be Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Let me see. I'm honestly not getting a lot from this side, which is very indicative of the information. So it might be that the empty room person hasn't heard from the forest person in a long while, or like they just don't hear a lot from them. Like, I'm getting like the forest person is unreachable. They can't be pinned down. There's something about this forest person being like, I just want to explore, I just want to travel. Like, I'm not ready to commit or to be fully with the empty room person because I just need to see and do and find other things first. Like, they need to fill themselves with all these things, whereas the truth of the matter is, which they might not even be aware of because they're not there yet. Because like right now, if they're at the point in time in which they need to explore people, places, things, substances, I'm getting different states of consciousness, that's just what they truly have to do, because eventually at the end of the day they will recognize that that's not a substitute. Like, those practices are all very fine and very valid, but not as a substitute for real intimacy and real nourishing of your heart and your emotions. See, that's a common pattern here. Your desires are individually very, very valid, but it's not all there is. It's not like it's not a sufficient condition to feel truly fulfilled. Like, it's almost like, again, like the empty room person might soothe themselves through food and through like sweet foods, whereas what they truly need is like sweetness towards themselves, from themselves, and with this person. Like, they need to be nourished and they need sweetness and connection and intimacy. The forest person might need a lot of exploration and a lot of excitement and a lot, like, this person definitely tries to find the thrill. Like, they need excitement, they need adventure, they need experiences to counter this numbness that they are kind of like tormented by. So like in their day-to-day lives, both these people, like the empty room person might come across as someone who's like highly emotional, highly sensitive, and the forest person might come across like on the outside as someone who is not feeling a lot of things all the time. Like they might be a little bit disconnected, disassociated, and that's why they kind of like feel this urge to feel things. So they might, it wouldn't surprise me if they would be engaging in substances, like both uppers and downers, like both things that like stimulate your brain and your consciousness, and both things that like kind of like suppress, or what is the word, like sedate the mind and the emotions. This person definitely has this turbulent inside of them, in which they're kind of like shifting and switching very fast between like everything and nothing, everything and nothing. That's also how they might be relating to the empty room person. Like they might be like, oh yeah, I'm fully here now, and then the next day they're completely gone and they don't want to deal with it anymore. And that, yeah, I do feel called to say that this pattern, like this is not a healthy type of connection for as it's practically taking space. And there is a lot of potential for both love, like you guys both love each other so deeply, and there's a lot of potential for healing within yourselves as well. And this is literally why you guys have like, you guys trigger each other, you guys trigger the living heck out of each other because you need to see your own individual unhealthy patterns. And this is again, it's not a negative judgment. It's not like, oh my god, you're so toxic. It's just to say this is not helpful for yourself. Like you're working against yourself by keeping this pattern going. And there's definitely this need for both of these people to look at each other and try to understand each other more. Like the first person, when you've won the lottery, make room for wonderment. This person definitely recognizes in the empty room someone who's so valuable, and someone who indeed feels like home. Like the forest person will always want to come back to the empty room person, because it feels weird to call him that because, you know, but the forest person definitely like sees home in person B. Like they know, like it's they could not unlove person B if they tried. They probably always think about person B. Which is mutual. Like person B, the empty room person, definitely feels also abandoned by the forest person, because they feel like it's like these people need to be loved in specific ways. Like the empty room person needs reassurance and needs closeness, and the forest person needs freedom. Like that's what they think that they need. And the truth of the matter is, the forest person subconsciously, what they're running, like this need for freedom is kind of like they need freedom from their own need to run away from their feelings. Does that make sense? I feel like definitely it might sound vague because both these people are not super aware of these patterns. Again, because you're still in the middle of these patterns, and you have to probably reach to those conclusions by yourselves. So it's good to like this reading is not about like the solution at the end. It's really about like understanding what is going on individually between the two of you, and understanding what the other person is going through, and understanding that you're literally doing the same thing, just expressing it in different ways, and that you both need the same thing, which is to love yourself and to value yourself and to not feel this need for external validation. Because again, this forest person feels like they need the empty room person to give them permission to go away, to give them permission to like approve of their need for freedom, of their need for exploration, of their need to be free and to be themselves. And they feel really burdened by the fact that the empty room person might just have troubles with that. And it's a really mutual thing. I hope I have conveyed it properly, because I feel like I'm having a very, very hard time explaining a concept that I personally am very familiar with. And this tells me that the energy of these two people in this pile, I mean, you guys might not be entirely there yet for this understanding, but it's really good that you are watching this reading, because indeed it's you're on your way. You're both journeying, if that makes sense. There's definitely a need for both these people to find sweetness, compassion, and peace and calm within themselves first, and like finding understanding for the other person and finding compassion for the other person, and stop blaming the other person and stop expecting the other person to make you feel better or to like validate you. and truly come into these discussions, these arguments, these conversations with more peace and calm and genuine love and genuine understanding. And there's no point in trying to force to speak calmly when on the inside you feel everything but calm. Like our Lord and Savior J. Cole said, the only real change comes from inside. Like if you try to change the dynamic, like the practical dynamic of the connection, of the relationship, no matter what nature this relationship is, it could be romantic, could be non-committal, could be friendship, could be anything, like it doesn't matter. But the relationship that you have with each other, if you try to change it from the outside, if you try to change your actions while your inner world stays unchanged, like if you try to act peacefully while on the inside you feel boiling with rage and boiling with anger and with pain, it's going to snowball, and it's going to come back around in the real way, if that makes sense. I just saw 1455, so that kind of reduce it to 555, which is interesting because I was talking about change. 5 is the number of disruption and change and all that fun stuff. Change is inherently uncomfortable. These two people are definitely both being invited and pushed and nudged by this connection and by these patterns to change the relationship that they have with each other. Or like with themselves first, so that like first you need to be able to change your individual relationships that you have to yourselves to be able to change the relationship that you have with yourself, with each other. Does that make sense? So change your inner world and your outer world will basically change as a result. And this does not mean stop being anxious and stop being avoidant. This does not mean that. It means find a healthier relationship with your own emotions, find a healthier relationship with your own coping mechanisms, find compassion and sweetness for yourself, and cultivate that first, and then you can come in with a new energy into the connection. I feel like we can move on now, because I've been spending a lot of time on this one already, but it's fine because there was a lot of, I mean, if you don't want to watch long readings, you can always like put it on faster or watch other readings that are shorter, I guess, but there was a lot of things that need to be uncovered in this connection for sure. So for the energy of the connection, and we're just going to pull tarot probably right away. The energy of the connection and the karma that you guys are solving is synchronicity with number 43. Then we have number 29 with kindness. The energy of kindness reminds us to be considerate and wise in our interaction with others and ourselves, and to find the root of our love through our connection to source. Then we also have Black Moon Lilith. We also have Mutable. And we also have imagination. I embrace and nourish the creative aspect of my mind. So I feel called to read the mutable thingy from the book because there was something that was very illuminating. Now, let me find, this is the Celestial Bodies deck. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it first, because let me see the other book. What is it? What is it? Please. Mutable. Oh, there it is. So yeah, key terms are flexible, understanding, compassionate, again, broad-minded, supportive. In light, mutable signs, or like mutable energy, doesn't have to, like the signs doesn't have to be relevant astrologically, but it's just the energy in this connection and something about the karma that you guys are resolving with each other and need to take in consideration. So in light, mutable signs are empathetic and understanding for those around them in need of help. They are oriented towards finding compromise and solutions for the group. And when in shadow, mutable signs are easily overwhelmed and let others overpower them in their endeavors. Their ability to be of two minds about things can confuse and bring bouts of indecision. And the mutable signs are Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces, and Virgo. So Jupiter and Mercury ruled signs. And it's interesting because this synchronicity card in the book, it was also talking about destiny. So both these people, like, there is a divine purpose. Like, let me tell you, there is such an important, divine, beautiful purpose to this turmoil. Like, I recognize that it's so uncomfortable, so deeply painful. And that's because this is kind of like, I'm getting Pluto vibes. Well, we do have Black Moon Lilith, which always gives me Scorpio vibes. which is ruled by Pluto, but it definitely gives me Pluto vibes in the sense that Pluto is the planet that takes something that is deeply rooted and deeply hidden, like deeply into the subconscious, and brings it out into the surface. Like roses. Roses in herbalism and in like with essential oils as like natural remedies, what rose does is kind of like it opens the wound, it opens the heart space, it opens the pain that it resides in the heart space and in the womb, the sacral chakra. Yeah, there's definitely something about like heart space and throat and sacral chakra, so those chakras might be relevant. Those might be the ones that need healing for both of you. Rose kind of like opens the wound, it goes deeply within and brings out into the surface what is truly hurting. So on the surface, person B might say, I need more reassurance, I need more softness and sweetness, which is very valid, but that's not the core problem. Like, let me say this again, like it's very, very valid, and you're right. If you're person B, you're right to want that. Of course you want that. Of course you want connection. Of course you want sweetness. Of course you want a beautiful partnership. But that's not the problem, and it's not the solution. The problem and the solution is your own relationship to your own emotions. So you can cultivate both. You don't have to abandon your desires for connection and sweetness and softness and beauty with this person. That's not what this message is about. That's very valid. And if anything, I'm telling you, like, you should keep that, because of course you want that. Like, what else? Like, what else should you want with a person? That's very healthy to want that. But you should also take a look at how you are connecting to your own emotions and to your own, like, even to this desire. Like, look at the reaction that you have to this desire. Like, you feel guilty for this desire. And if you are person A, so the first person who needs more freedom and who needs more stimulation, who needs to feel more different things, who needs change, that's very valid too. But also be aware that having someone else allowing you to do that, like there's this thing about like people, like rebellious people, they need something to rebel to. It's like, again, Aquarius vibes. Oh, these two people might have Venus placements and like respectively like in water sign and air sign potentially. Doesn't have to be, but or like the Imam Seeli, so like the cusp of the fourth house in a water sign and an air sign. There's definitely something about like the juxtaposition between water and air. But like if you are like the forest person, or doesn't matter who is who, but like the first person, like it's very fine to want all those things and to want to be like to want to be granted this freedom. But the thing about like rebellious people is that they need something to rebel to, otherwise there's nothing to rebel to. Like there's this, the fact that they desire freedom. Again, I'm getting this quote that I mentioned in my previous reading as well, so it might be relevant currently for the collective. It's like, you are at your most powerful when you don't need to feel powerful, like when you don't have the need to be powerful. Because if you feel the need to be powerful, it means that you don't feel powerful. And this person needs to feel free because they don't feel free. And that's because there's something that is keeping them chained. And like if they are so afraid of like, I don't know, like the government or whatever it is that they feel afraid of being tied down by, is because they themselves already feel tight. Like it's their own demons that is kind of like tying them down. It's them, like it's this need to escape their feelings that is actually making them, like the more you keep running from something, the more that something keeps running after you. Like the moment you realize that the problem is the running away and not the thing that you're running from, because again, I'm having a very hard time explaining this, and that's probably because it's a very hard concept for you guys to integrate at this time. But I'm going to do my best because I want to deliver the messages that you're needing. So for instance, when you are scared of spiders, does that mean that the spider is actually gonna hurt you? Does that mean that the spider is actually unhealthy or like actually very scary? No, the problem is the fear. Like the problem is, and this is not to say that your fear is a problem. I mean, I have a tattoo that says love your fear. Like I'm all about pouring love into your fear, but that's the whole point. Like you shouldn't blame the thing that you're running from, because that's not the problem. Like there's some people are afraid of spiders and some people are not afraid of spiders. Some people are afraid of snakes and some people are not afraid of snakes. So like two people can look at the same thing in a very different way, and that is not a reflection of the thing, but it's a reflection of the people. So two people are standing in front of a spider, one person is completely calm and they're like, yeah, it's just a spider, it's there, it's chilling, like I can see it's harmless, and the other person is like freaking out, being like, oh my god, getting the chills, getting super like hyped up, like not hyped up, but like super just scared, like. And again, this person is kind of, they might benefit from seeing that, oh, this spider is actually not doing anything, like it's just chilling there, you know, like it's fine. This is to say, give me a few seconds, you can skip ahead, and this is getting too long, but before I start pulling the tarot, because I feel like there was something that I wanted to say, and that is not coming. I feel like both these people are kind of, with this imagination card coming through, both these people are kind of like expecting this connection to take place in a specific way, or like they're expecting, you both are expecting the others, or like needing the other to show up in the way that you need, whereas you're kind of like overlooking the way in which the other person already shows you love. Like, let's say, for instance, like person B's love language is touch and communicating and like just having meaningful conversations, and person A's love languages are like acts of service and gifts or something like that. Like, you might have indeed like very different ways of showing love to each other, and indeed like different needs in that sense, and that might make both of these people feel very unvalued and uncared for and unseen and unheard, whereas it's just, you're kind of, well, it's true, because you both, and there you go, the camera stopped filming again. I was saying, it is true, like it's very valid that both these people feel unheard and unseen, because both of you, regardless of who you are in these two people, both of you are looking at the other person and the situation through their trauma lens. And it's not to make you at fault, because again, like if you have been conditioned growing up to perceive the world like that, that's very real, let's put it that way. But there's definitely this need, like one thing that is already coming through, like a very strong message coming through for both of you, is like you both have this need to first find understanding and compassion for yourself. And after that, when you have accomplished that, or like when you are able to do that more, of course, it's always a work in progress. It's always like it's a journey. You never get there. Like there's no end goal. There's also this need to afterwards extend understanding, like wanting to understand and trying to understand and see this other person for who they are. And it's still very valid to say, like, I see you, I see how you express love, and I see that you in your specific unique way love me, but I also, it is also true with this mutability, with this need of seeing like both truths and both sides. It is also true, like I see that you love me and that you express love in your unique way, but it is also true that I feel unloved because there's some things that I need that are not being met. So Spirit, tell us a little bit more about what karmic cycle these two people for pile 2 are currently resolving. Yeah, can I take them both? Yeah, okay, so we have the Ace of Swords and the Seven of Pentacles. What else? What else is in this people's? We have the Six of Cups with pleasure. Yeah. What else? I'm going to take one more card and bottom of the deck energy. What else is in these two people's karma? I guess we're just taking these two. We have the Four of Swords and the Magician. Yeah, that makes so much sense. You have the Three of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. I'm just going to put it that way. Okay, that's a lot of cards, but it's fine. So, first of all, know that your spirit guides got you. Like, this is all happening for a reason, and I promise you, if it's exhausting, just keep in mind that there is there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is literally a divine purpose. Like, this all, once you have gotten, like, the first breakthrough, or, like, if you had the next breakthrough, like, things will start moving in the right direction, and it will feel uncomfortable because you're indeed sort of like creating a new identity for yourself, because this is literally intended for you both to break through your own barriers and your own blockages that you have been dealing with your entire lives, essentially. There's this need for finding ways in which you can complement each other rather than this need for being the same, because you guys are not the same. Like, practically speaking, like on a soul level, you probably are literally the same, but the coping mechanisms are just different for the same thing. So finding mutability, like mutuality, that's what I meant. Finding a way in which you both can like feed into each other and like build together, with like finding a way in which your differences can like complement each other rather than needing the other person to be the same and needing the other person to be like, oh yeah, I completely agree. Like you can disagree and you can like enrichen each other's perspectives and bring new perspectives and kind of like add to each other, rather like this connection doesn't have to like take away from anything or either of you. Again, with this recovery, Moon and Jupiter, we also have Taurus, Saturn and Taurus, we have Scorpio, Sun, we have Gemini and Virgo with Mercury energy, and we have Capricorn in Mars. Doesn't have to be astrologically irrelevant. We have again like the air signs, so Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. But there's definitely again something about like finding peace with each other, like enjoying, like try to be more playful with each other, because I feel like perhaps like a lot of like a big percentage of you guys' interactions with each other are kind of like harsh and hard, as in like with toughness, but also hard to deal with in the sense that it's like difficult. And it shouldn't have to be also difficult. Like there is this need for lightness for sure, for like letting things go and letting things be a little more, and kind of like maybe just like crack a joke or like send stupid reels or like share something good that happened to you to each other. Like I'm getting definitely for a lot of you there might be not a lot of talking or like long distance going on, and there's definitely this feeling of, okay, so what can I personally build for myself, what endeavor can I take on like individually to take care of myself and to feel fulfilled within myself, something that is purely for yourself, that doesn't need the input of anyone, the approval of anyone. What can I create within myself, or like what can I create, what can I put out into the world that is purely my creation for myself, and that I don't feel the need. Like this could be like some type of like a business, or like some type of art endeavor, or like writing a book, or like writing poetry, or whatever it is. Like starting a garden, starting a community of some sort, like getting into a new class or something. This could be anything, and just doing something for yourself as an individual. There's definitely this need for building yourself up and building your confidence up as an individual for both these people. Yes, let me pull clarifiers. So that was kind of already like the solution. Should we put more? Should I put more cards? Do I have to put more cards? I'm just gonna pull more cards. Let me see if it's okay. I'm just gonna put everything a little bit, scoosh it up a little bit so we can fit more cards. That should work. So what is some more advice? I don't want to take 6 cards. We're just gonna take 4 cards. What is some more advice for pile 2 and this person to overcome this karmic cycle? There's definitely something about being more direct and kind of like actually simplify things rather than spiraling and feeding into. So we have the Lovers in reverse and the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. So that is very interesting. So the Lovers is Gemini energy, and we have Virgo Mercury with the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. So I'm getting also that right now is not the time for this connection to be like a committed, one-on-one, dedicated partnership. For those of you for who it resonates, like this doesn't have to apply to everyone. But it might just not be the time right now, because there's other things that need to happen before you both are like complete and whole individuals within yourself. So I'm getting for a lot of you, this might be like, if this was at some point, or like could have been like a situation of whatever nature it was, this might have been the first time that you experienced something so deep and so intense with anyone and that you were so sure of. I'm getting that it's interesting because it's almost flip-flop. Like now the message that I'm getting with this row is almost like about the karma and about the situation, and these cards were more about the solutions. So that's interesting, but there might have been something along the lines of like, oh, you promise each other to be together forever, and like, oh, you're my person, but now you kind of start seeing that it might not have to be that way. Like definitely be open to different ways in which this love can flourish, because it doesn't have to be. Don't force yourself to do that. Like if you still desire to have like, if you still desire for this person to be endgame, like definitely own up to it. It doesn't mean like, don't neglect your own desires. But there might be something about this is not the time right now, because it's clear, like there is a reason why it's not working right now, and there's a reason. The reason is individual healing. And it doesn't mean that you cannot be with someone if you're not completely healed, because that's not such a thing. But there are certain patterns and blockages within yourselves that are making it so that it's really, really hard to have a harmonious connection with this person. So what else? I'm just gonna take... Yeah, I just heard like figure out what you want. So both of you might be needing to get some clarity on what it is that you want and what it is that you don't want. This is also definitely a good learning experience from what do I want in relationships. That's also why I was getting the vibe like this might have been like the first real serious relationship for either one of you or both of you. And this is also indeed like the reason, like small part of what you guys are resolving is like kind of like understanding what your boundaries are. So indeed like what you want, what you like, what you dislike, what you will not take, what is like a requirement for you to be in a partnership with someone, what is the things that you can let go of, and what is something that you really do not want to compromise on. Because I do feel like there's a deeply seated clashing between needs and desires between you and this person. And yeah, whether those are resolvable or those are just not, like, they cannot be settled, like, that is completely going to be different for everyone watching this, and that's completely up to you to decide and to find out. But one more card about, well, anything, truthfully. What else does pile 1 need to know at this point? Yeah, again, there's this dropping of expectations, because you might want to do things in a specific way, but things will go, you will not get, what is this? 4 of Cups, yeah. That card wanted to come out. And we do have the Queen of Pentacles and the Moon below that. Let's see what that is. The 7 of Wands and the 6 of Wands. There's definitely this feeling of you can expect things to go in a specific way, and you can like tell yourself, okay, this is how we're going to do things. But that does not mean that that's what you truly need. Like, again, you might feel like a person A might feel like they need more experiences and more stimulation and more knowledge and more everything. Well, what they truly need at their core is intimacy, is closeness, is silence, is rest. And again, it doesn't mean that they shouldn't go for the things that they think that they desire, because like, if anything, they should go for those things. They should go for more traveling, more experiences, more casual encounters, more all of those things, because eventually they will realize this is not working. This is not satisfying me. This is not healing me. This is not fixing all my problems. So what do I do then? And person B might need validation from the other person. They might need sweetness. They might need reassurance. They might need whatever it is that they feel like they need from this person. Whereas what they truly need is to develop an understanding for themselves and compassion for themselves first. And like, yeah. So what you think you need doesn't have to be what you truly need. It's like, for those of you who are into psychedelics and like mushrooms, you might know, you might have experiences in which the mushroom spirit clearly shows you like, oh, you thought you needed this? Well, I'm not going to give you that. I'm going to give you what you actually need. I'm not going to give you, like, those experiences and this experience of this connection is not going to give you what you want. It's going to give you what you truly need. And that might be very, very uncomfortable for a lot of you. Cut the deck, the Tower, yeah. Whew, I feel like that is all. Just give me a few more seconds. I also just heard like choose yourself. There might be a reluctance to choose yourself because you want to choose the other person and you want the other person to choose you. And it's okay if you're not there yet. It's okay if you cannot manage to choose yourself yet, because obviously if you want to choose this connection because you don't want to be alone, that's fair too. There's nothing shameful in that. Just be aware that, like, you can also be like, okay, I acknowledge that this is the lesson, but I'm not ready there yet. Like, I'm not ready to do that yet. And that is actually very powerful. It's to say like, okay, I know that I need to love myself first, but in this moment, I literally don't have the tools. I don't have the knowledge. I don't know what that would look like. Therefore, I need you to be patient with me, and I need you to be kind with me. As much as the other person, like the forest person A, might be saying like, okay, I recognize that I need more intimacy. I recognize that I need to speak about my emotions more, but I'm not capable of doing that right now. Like, that terrifies me. I literally feel so much resistance. Therefore, I need you to be patient with me, and I need you to understand that this is really hard for me. See, this is the level of intimacy, and like you don't need to do anything that you're not capable of, or like you don't need to be anywhere that you're not at. You just need to go deeper and to drop the battles and to truly be vulnerable with yourselves first and understand where you're at and accept where you're at and accept the other person where they're at. I feel like there was a lot of conflict and turmoil at the beginning of this reading, and right now as I'm saying these things, it feels so peaceful. So there's definitely a need for both these people to be real with each other, and that will take each of these people being real with themselves first before you're able to show in a real and raw and authentic way with this person. Like, you need to be real and raw and authentic with yourself first. And then you can bring in that kindness and that softness and that understanding and that mutual reciprocity into the connection. You cannot bring something into the connection that you don't have yourself first. That's why it's like two whole people can make a very healthy, beautiful connection and relationship. When you have two kind of people who are needing all sorts of things from the outside, that's like the relationship is not going to fix that. It's just going to reflect and amplify that incompleteness more. So like if you feel like you are empty on your own, this relationship is not going to fulfill you. It's not going to fill you. It's just going to amplify this feeling of emptiness that you already have. And I feel like that is that. We're just gonna take some final advice for you watching this. Pile 2. That was definitely a really, really intense energy. Definitely counterpart energies. Definitely soul, divinely guided, uncomfortable energy. But for a very specific reason. Like, I promise you, like, there's so much gold and so much healing and so much beauty. Better than you even would have expected. Like, you want and desire specific outcomes with this person, but I promise you, if it doesn't work out in that way, there's a reason, and that's because there's something way greater and way more beautiful and way more powerful and way more fulfilling out there for you. I fucking promise you, pile 2. Yes, so what is some advice for pile 2 at this time? I feel like y'all are my friends. Like, y'all might be part of, and again, I recognize this energy because I've been there. So and I'm not in there anymore, and I can see it so clearly, and everything that I got out of it. We're far in the reading. If you're staying, you're probably soul family, and I fucking love you. Like, I feel this intimacy right now between me and whoever is watching this. I promise you, like, you are in for some drastic transformation, and it's uncomfortable before and it's uncomfortable during the transformation, but I promise you, once you have settled certain things within yourself, and once you have transformed and alchemized certain things within yourself, like, it's going to be so fucking great and so fucking powerful. You're going to just, like, want to cry out of joy for no reason. Oh, wow, look at this shit. We have perspective. None of this matters. Zoom out. Common ground. Yeah. Yes, I feel like I don't even want to say anything. I'm just going to show you this card and you can just sit with it. If it focuses. Please focus. Is it focusing? It's not focusing. Please focus. It's not focusing. But this is planet Earth. A little blue ball there. And okay, 2 more. We're just going to take these. Then we're going to take a rebel deck. So we have empathic starseed, energetic sovereignty, absorbing what's not yours. Yeah, also definitely... This is need for distinguishing. Okay, so what is yours and what is not mine? What is yours and what is mine? And what are you reflecting back at me? And what is my responsibility? What is not my responsibility? That's an entire topic for another day. But there's definitely this need for understanding boundaries and getting centered and grounded within your own self, and not overextend yourself and not over-explain yourself. Just find power within yourself first. Earth pulsing, pulse of the mother, slow down, time in nature. Yeah, definitely this energy of find some simple pleasures, like enjoy nature, spend some time with the trees and the bees and the butterflies. And if you're able right now, like, it's spring as I'm filming this, so if you're watching this in like autumn or winter, I understand it's fucking cold outside, but definitely something about find the beauty in the small things, both in your own life and about this person and with this person. We're still rolling. Okay, so take these messages if you want. This is this deck might trigger some people because it's a little bit unhinged. Oh, we have love. Get some, give some. It will cheer your ass up. Exactly. Love grows love. So if you want to manifest love in this connection, then try to be the first one to bring love into it, because you cannot expect to only show love if the other person also shows you love. Like, it doesn't work like that. You are giving away your power. You are a badass. Act like it. Exactly. Dollar sign, dollar sign, dollar sign, make it rain. Yeah, focus on the bag, focus on your own endeavors. If there's something that you've been putting off because, or like that you have been procrastinating on because this person wasn't giving you the mental space or whatever, like definitely focus on that. Focus on your projects, focus on your things. We have detox. Drink a smoothie, unfriend that asshole, and throw some shit out. It's interesting because I was about to make a smoothie after this reading. Now I feel like that too. What else? One more for pile. Ooh. Oh, wow. So this one wanted to make itself known twice. Fuck fear. It will lie to your face. Yeah, this is definitely something about like... your fears need to be faced within yourself first. Like there's something that you guys are not facing within yourself and you both need to look at that first. Time to let go. Move the F on. And this is not to say necessarily from this person. It's to say time to let go of these coping mechanisms and these patterns. Like truly take a hard, long stare in the mirror and sit with yourself and be with yourself, because this is obviously a loop and it's kind of like preventing you from going forward. So there's definitely something that you need to be looking at within yourself at this time. And everything falls into place. So this is part of the journey. Don't be hard on yourself. It's not, you're not at the wrong place. You're not doing it wrong. Pile 2, like this is part of your journey. This is all going according to plan. I'm freaking telling you. Like, it's fine. It's okay. You're good. Pile 2, thank you so much for being here, for letting me read your cards. This was such a powerful and intense reading. Definitely go drink. Let's all collectively go make smoothies after this, Pile, because we need it. So definitely feel free to leave a comment down below letting me know how this resonated, as I would love to hear and how this reading served you, if it helped you, if it gave you some type of insight that you were needing. Also feel free to leave a like and subscribe, as that really helps with the algorithm. And thank you again so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hi Pile 3, if you chose this cute little selenite block thingy as well as the Fountain Tarot, this is going to be reading all about what you and your person, whoever this person is, doesn't have to be romantic, but what kind of karma and patterns are you guys resolving in this lifetime, in this specific situation that you are in currently with them. So this could literally be a family member, a friend, whoever. Just do keep in mind that if romantic messages do come through, it's because a lot of people go to these readings on YouTube asking for a romantic interest of some sort. So definitely just apply the messages to your situations. These are collective readings, so always use your own discernment. Now I'm going to put these to the side because we'll look into these in a minute. First, we're going to do a little bit of an energy check. And we're going to do this in a person A versus person B format, so it will be up to you to decide or like understand, figure out who is who in this connection. It's more than normal, actually, in this video specifically, in this reading specifically. It's totally like expectable or expected to have some degree of mirroring between the two parties, since yeah, that's often what happens when there is like patterns going on and karmic cycles being resolved. So definitely do keep that in mind. And yeah, you should be able in this first part of the reading to find you and or your person, hopefully both, obviously, because that's kind of the point. Yeah, we're going to do this first, and then if this resonates, this is your pile. And we're going to move on to the other oracles, which will indicate a little bit more in depth about the karmic cycles and karmic patterns in the connection at this time. And then we're going to pull some more tarot to go a little bit more in depth about that, and to see basically what you guys need to integrate and basically do in order to move forward from this pattern and heal whatever it is that needs to be healed. So, oh, and at the end we're going to take some advice and some rebel deck. I love this deck so much. Anyway, so without further ado, let's see what we have here for person A. First, we have the bridge with number 38. We also have number 5 with the throat chakra. The frequency of the throat chakra, the blue flower of life, supports our self-expression and our sense of peace and balance. Then we have Mars, move forward and defend self. We have balance. I just heard Mars in Libra. That could be a significant placement, doesn't have to be. For person A, we also have number 31 or 4 in numerology with ally in disguise. Discover the hard to find blessing. And last but not least, for person A, we have I affirm that all life is sacred. Now for person B, we have the Bardo with number 15. We have perception, number 35. The frequency of perception supports our natural curiosity, moving us beyond our comfort zone to find the edges of what we perceive as real and to take a good, hard, deep look at it. Then we also have the element of fire with desire, number 37 or 10. Let me scooch this over a little bit so we can fit all the cards. Is this so... Yeah, you guys are good. I don't think you guys mind that my eucalyptus thingy is not as visible. Anyways, we also had 3 of these cards. I thought it was significant to keep them all. So we have frustration, we have illumination, and we have movement. And I want to keep them like this. Purely for space efficiency, I guess. And because it makes sense like that. Then we also have number 3 with the reward, celebrate your magnificence. And last but not least, we have I speak with good intent. Now, the first thing that I feel called to notice is the insane amount of 3s and 5s, and I guess also number 8. That's like ridiculous. We have 5, we have 38 with like 3, 5, and 3, and then we have number 50, which reduces 5. We have 35 again. Or again, we have 35, which is obviously a 3 and 5 and reduces to 8. Then we have 37, so also a little 7. The reward number 3 and ally in disguise number 31. So that is, those might be significant numbers for you guys. March might be a significant month, or May. Gemini or Leo. I'm getting also, in terms of zodiac signs, we do have Mars, which is the ruler of Scorpio and Aries. And we also have the fire element on this side for person B, which is Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. And with this balance card, it gives me Libra vibes. And this Bardo card is all about like liminal space and in-betweenness and on the roll, so that gives me Scorpio vibes. So those might be relevant signs. Oh, and we do have on both sides, we have like, what is this, like a crane bird or something like that? Well, it's a bird and a dragonfly, so it gives me, again, air vibes. So Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So this is so interesting. So there definitely have been patterns throughout all these piles that I've filmed so far. This is the last pile for this reading, but there definitely have been some patterns. But this one specifically, I feel like a very, very concrete and specific thing that you guys have issues probably with each other at this time is communication. And this is not to say that you cannot seem to like find a good way to communicate. I feel like there's a lack of communication altogether. I feel like both these people, and we will get into like the trying to keep things. I've been trying in these readings to like go from person A to person B, but since these are like these readings are about like the karmic cycles and the karmic patterns that you guys are resolving together, there is a mutuality of energies that both of these people are like struggling in this, like it's the same struggle, just expressing itself in different ways. So definitely do keep that in mind. Lots of mirroring. This pile also gives me kind of like divine counterparty type of vibes. And I find myself like especially fidgety in this pile. So there's definitely something along the lines of both of you having a lot to say to each other, but not having said that, and kind of like being nervous about speaking your truth. There's definitely something very, very important about speaking your truth and self-expression. Okay, so starting with person A, so the bridge person. This person, I feel like in comparison to the Bardo person, so person B, you both might have a name that starts with the same letter, because we do have the bridge and the Bardo, but that doesn't have to be for everyone. That's just like a little glimpse that came through right now. But in terms of what these two people are at, I feel like there's a lot of comparison going on. Like even when I want to start speaking about one person, I feel like I need to put it in comparison and in perspective from the other person, and vice versa. So there's definitely an element of you guys both kind of like maybe looking at each other like kind of like sideways and be like, okay, so what is person A doing? Okay, so what is person B doing? And kind of like this comparison of what do you have and how will you feel if I say this to you? So that like there's a lot of nervous focus on the other, at least internally. Because again, it wouldn't surprise me if you guys were not like communicating very extensively at all. And I'm not getting for the most of you that this is like an actual like separation, no contact at all. It doesn't feel like a disruptive type of connection, so it would actually surprise me. Well, for some of you it might be the case, but for the most of you, I feel like this is not like you are in contact with this person, just probably the communication is a little bit surface level, or just like lighthearted, playful, and just not like straight to the point. And there's definitely concealed emotions and concealed chaos and concealed depth that both of these two people are experiencing about each other with regards to the connection. So I do feel like in terms of where these two people are at, the bridge person has likely done a little bit more of healing, and they have reached a more peaceful, they are like already on the other side of their tower moments, if that makes sense. So like they have likely recently or in the past had some significant breakthroughs in terms of how they act towards this person, how they act towards themselves, how they feel about their own expression of their own emotions and their thoughts and their boundaries. There's definitely something about this person being already familiar with this journey of self-healing and finding balance within yourself. And I feel like for a lot of people watching this pile, this is likely you. But again, I'm getting that for, it doesn't have to be. These are collective readings. So again, you have person A, person B, so it could be anything. But that definitely this bridge person, they have been on an inner journey to find balance within themselves and to find kind of like confidence and clarity within themselves, and to kind of like alchemize whatever ish life throws at them, or whatever triggers and traumas and wounds are surfacing within themselves. They have been working really, really hard and really consistently on healing and on alchemizing it into something positive, into like transforming their weaknesses into gifts, if that makes sense. I'm getting this excitement from the bridge person towards the concept of healing and of transformation and of like shadow work, those things. So there's definitely something about the bridge person being like almost like a what's the word? Like an experienced, they're more experienced on the healing journey, on like the self-growth and self expansion. I can't find the words for some reason. Anyways, I hope that it makes sense. So like you will recognize this energy if it applies to you. Whereas the Bardo person, I feel like they are still either going through very, very intense changes internally. So this is specifically about their life internally. It could definitely also be that they are experiencing some turmoil at work or like with their families, but definitely this is more about their inner energy. And this person is still kind of like going through it right now as we speak. So definitely the Bardo person might be a little bit more like withholding, kind of like needing a little bit more space, a little bit more solitude, and they might need a little bit more distraction. Whereas the bridge person is kind of like ready, kind of like very much turned towards the Bardo person, and with this bridge energy coming through, it's kind of like, okay, like let's connect, like let's talk, like let's open up to each other. But at the same time, this bridge person does not come across as like a forceful type of energy. This Mars card here, it doesn't feel like an actual like aggressive kind of like super forward, super straightforward, kind of like overpowering type of energy. Not at all. It rather feels kind of, it has something to do with boundaries. Like this person definitely has, they are focused on themselves. So like the bridge person is mainly focused on themselves, but they are super open. Like they are just like with arms wide open. I just heard with arms and legs wide open. Stop. Take that if it resonates. It's fine if it doesn't. So they are kind of like stable and grounded, or like they're trying to stay stable and grounded within themselves and like centered within themselves, because they perhaps could have been a people pleaser type of person in the past, or like they might have been overly focused on the Bardo person in the past, and they might have kind of lost themselves in the attempt to like save the Bardo person, or to kind of like push the Bardo person through the doors of healing, or like to try to fix the Bardo person even. And this is definitely something that this bridge person has likely done a lot of work on, because they also realized that they were like overextending themselves, and now they're learning to stay centered, stay grounded within themselves, recognize their own boundaries, and recognize when it's time to give and when it's time to like give this person space. And that's actually really, really beautiful energy. And this is not to say that they're not struggling at all, because this is a very conscious, like, this is the result of a lot of inner work. Let's put it that way. So yeah, they're definitely very focused on trying to keep the balance, understand where the balance even is within themselves in terms of like, when should I reach out, and when should I trust that this person will reach out whenever they are ready. When should I make some action, when should I like do or say something, and when should I just like leave things, like let go and let God, essentially. So both internally in terms of their own energy, but also with regards to the Bardo person. And they're also really learning to trust and respect the journey that the Bardo person is in currently. Like, they recognize that they are where they are at in their journey, and that's just a part of the journey. Like, they are exactly where they need to be, whereas the Bardo person, perhaps, like, since they are in the middle of the struggle, because the Bardo is all about like this liminal. Should I read it from the book? Let me just read it from the book. Oh, that's not the book. Let me find. You can skip ahead if you don't want to. Oh, wait, I'll just pause and restart. Yes, okay, so the Bardo, the liminal, the in-between, the transition. It kind of gives me like Hanged Man vibes. When light, spaciousness, grace, forgiveness, truth, and when dark, torment, dislocation, hallucination, transience. It is said that the Bardo is a place between this life and the next, a liminal realm through which souls pass. Envisioning this inherently mysterious space creates a potential for us to rise above the concerns of this world and see our relationships through a cosmic and timeless lens. We may receive messages from those who are no longer with us, or see visions of lives not yet lived. In the Bardo, there is a potential to forgive the unforgivable, to say the unsaid, to see the unseen, to love the unloved, to let go of all the things that cause us pain. The Bardo suspends us in its spaciousness for just long enough to open us to a higher wisdom, and its energy does not belong to Earth as we know it, but rather to the cosmic network of which we are a single thread. So there's definitely something about the Bardo person. They might definitely be going through like some type of third eye chakra awakening, because there's like this eye image going on there. And being in such a space in which kind of like reality as you know it shifts and changes and crumbles, this is definitely giving me like tower vibes. It's really overwhelming. This person is going through a lot of change, like with this 5 energy, they're going through a lot of change, and they're definitely on a journey of self-love. And perhaps in their eyes, but also just like objectively speaking, looking at the bridge person, the bridge person is a little bit further ahead in the journey of self-love and self-respect and self-validation, if that makes sense. Whereas the Bardo person is still really struggling through that and with that. And they're also perhaps doing quite some shadow work, either willing or unwilling, but there's a lot of facing of their own wounds and kind of like with a new perspective, because this person is learning also a lot about perspective and looking at things from new perspectives. And perhaps this is also something that they're learning, like both directly and indirectly from the bridge person, since it's almost like these two people are on the same journey, but the bridge person is kind of like a little bit more advanced, a little bit further ahead on the journey. So like they have done a lot more healing in that sense. And this is not to say that they're better or anything, but because there is also definitely something about like respecting each other's journeys and accepting where you're at right now and recognizing that neither is better than the other. It just is the way that it is. Oh, by the way, both these people have an incredible amount of desire for each other. Like, there's so much burning passion between the two of these people. I don't think that for the majority of you, I don't think, like, the energy that I'm getting it right now is that these two people have a lot of passion and a lot of desire towards each other, and they're kind of like being nudged towards each other by the universe. And this is something that the Bardo person might also be realizing, like, oh my god, everything just like leads to you. I'm hearing the Maroon 5 songs, like the map that leads to you. Like, oh my god, everything that has happened has been kind of like leading me and nudging me towards the bridge person. If these two people perhaps in the past, or like especially the Bardo person, might have like either rejected or just tried to like walk away from the connection, it's just something that keeps coming back. Like this connection just keeps coming back. It's kind of like something that cannot be avoided for much longer. And I definitely do feel like there's an imminent kind of like bursting open of the Pandora's box, if that makes sense. It's not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. I do feel like there's a lot of like hidden feelings, like unspoken truths and unaffirmed feelings and sentiments. There's a lot of depth that these two people have for each other, deep feelings and deep passion and deep desire that these two people have for each other, but haven't really come to this, like these things haven't really come to the surface. You guys probably haven't really spoken to each other about it, at least not to the extent of which it is true. The Bardo person is definitely... There is also something about like going back and forth with this frustration, illumination, movement. It's kind of like this person goes back and forth between these energies in which they're like, oh my God, what is happening? What is happening? Kind of like resisting their own wounds and resisting, like if they have some anxiety or like hurt, resurfacing, they might first be wanting to like not deal with it and be like, oh my God, why is this connection so triggering? Why do I feel like this negatively when I'm around the bridge person? It's not because the bridge person is doing anything wrong, but that's just because they have, energetically speaking, I speak very fast. Do you guys have like Mercury placements? Or like Mercury moon signs or something like that? You definitely might have similar placements to this person. Anyways, this person goes from being frustrated at themselves and why they can't really see. This frustration card is like they're trying to fit like this. It's the same shape. Trying to fit this block thingy through like a round hole. They're trying to make it's like this person needs to learn how to let go and to like crack open, if that makes sense. They have been trying to do things in life in a certain way, but they're realizing more and more and more that they can't keep doing that. But they still kind of like by inertia, like they're still kind of going in their same old ways. So like their life on the outside might be quite steady and quite the same as it has been for a while. But internally they're changing so much and they feel so uncomfortable because they just don't resonate with their outer environment or like with their lifestyle anymore. And then they get these glimpses of illumination of like, oh my God, so this is what I have to do, which is probably something along the lines of like pouring love into their wounds, like speaking more to the bridge person, or just like speaking more. I mean, we do have this card where I speak with good intent, speaking more kindly, or just like speaking more in general, like expressing themselves more and being kinder to themselves and like choosing more healthy or positive activities or foods or whatever it is that they're engaging with. And then they kind of like feel inspired and I want to do it. And then kind of like they go back and forth between those energies. Because they might get scared. This person is definitely kind of like in this in-between. It's like, oh my God, where do I go? And it's kind of like this back and forth, back and forth. Yes, and this person is definitely, the Bardo person is definitely in the process of like understanding things very, very deeply about themselves and about this connection, I want to say. They might not have like a full grasp yet, also because they are still scared of actually going towards a bridge person. So like this person is definitely withholding a little bit more. There's definitely something about the bridge person also like withholding information, feelings, words, but it's not necessarily very strongly out of a place of anxiety. It's more out of a place of it will come when it will come. Like there's divine timing at play, and this person is like the bridge person is very aware of that, and they're like, I don't want to force anything on the Bardo person. I just want to leave them where they're at. And I just want to let them go through their process as they need to. And if they need space, then space is what they get. If they want to talk, then we can talk. If they want to have fun, we can have fun. And if they want to cry together, we can cry together. Like this bridge person is kind of like very open. And kind of like yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if this person had like Gemini and Libra placements, because they see the value in all options. They don't necessarily have like a specific... They're not trying to force any specific outcome. This is also definitely a type of connection in which... If you hear weird noises, that's the rats in my rooftop. Anyways, what was I saying? This might definitely be the type of situation in which you cannot even put words to the type of connection that you two have, because it's way more than a friendship. And again, take this if it resonates. It's so much more than a friendship. It's so different than anything else you've ever experienced with anyone else. It's like such a deeply pure, unconditionally loving type of connection. But let's move forward and see a little bit more in depth about what karma you guys are resolving together at this time. So we have a bunch of cards. So we have 2 of these cards, 2 of these cards, 2 of these cards, and 1 of these cards. So yeah, this is probably could also be my duality pile. So like Cancer, Pisces, Libra, and Gemini. Obviously, Gemini is the main mirroring sign. Shout out to all my Gemini placements out there. Fucking love y'all. Okay, so for the karmic energy of this connection, we have a rotation with number, what is that? 69. Okay, well, we also have calcification with number, that's 69 right now, that's 69. Is it? I have no idea. We also have number 64 with calcification. Then we have the energy of connection with number 14 or 5. The frequency of connection supports our ability to find alignment and resonance with others, things, and ideas. Oh my god, I feel such an excitement in my throat chakra. I definitely feel like there's a lot of communication coming for you guys. Stop! There's so much X-rated puns or like things going through my mind right now. So there's definitely a lot of fiery energy and passionate energy between the two of you. Oh my god. If you guys have not been, and again, take this only if it applies to your situation. If you guys have not been like physically intimate with each other, it might be happening quite soon because you probably cannot resist each other anymore. Holy crackers. So number 23, honesty, which also reduces to 5. The energy of honesty supports our choice to be courageously truthful and genuine with kindness and tact. Yeah, there's definitely a huge explosion. Like a passionate, truthful honesty bomb coming out for you guys like soonish, for sure. I mean, in terms of the timing, you guys are like on the brink of, you might be seeing a lot of like 555 or like 5555 or just like 55, because change is imminent. Like that is what I'm getting. Change is imminent. Things have been changing for a while for you guys, and that extra little bit to like kind of like, oh, what is that word of like breaking down the floodgates came down or something like that, but I don't know. I can't really find the words right now. For some reason my brain is brain farting a little bit, so excuse my my lack of eloquentness, whatever that word is. But yeah, there's definitely something about, there is something huge about to change for you guys. We also have the number 5. Yes, so 555. And we have Leo, which is interesting because Leo is the 5th sign of the zodiac. August, Leo season might be significant for you guys. And we also have love. I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. You guys, so this is so fucking awesome. This is so awesome. So there is something about breaking patterns, breaking cycles, and I feel like this is not necessarily, this could very well be like a newer connection. There's definitely something about breaking cycles, about, I just feel like I want to give like a list of words. It's breaking cycles with regards to lack of boundaries, dishonesty, people pleasing, fear of intimacy, keeping appearances, saying the right thing, appearing in a certain way, and only seeing the worst case scenario, giving into fears, giving into insecurities, identifying with your insecurities, and enmeshment. There's definitely something about these two people needing to learn how to be themselves and honor the other person at the same time. This connection, this need for intimacy, like there's really, it's almost like these two people have never had like such a deep soul connection like they had with each other. Like you have with each other. But at the same time, it's hard to understand how to practically connect to each other, like how to practically have this connection or relationship take form, because you never had a good example for it, perhaps. Like perhaps you both came from like very dysfunctional families or dysfunctional like friend groups in which relationships were also kind of like transactional and kind of in which there was not a lot of like unconditional support, in which you always had to be like a certain way or like say certain things in a certain way, and kind of like in this keeping of appearances. I might get the feeling that you guys don't know that much about your respective pasts, like your past relationships and your past traumas, I want to say, because there is definitely this uncertainty about like what has been going on and how do we move forward from here, like how will we have this connection take form, essentially. This connection is definitely a radical change in how you connect with people and how you relate to people for both of you. And that's why it's so scary and so unsettling for the both of you. Although, again, I feel like the bridge person has been, look at this, cutting the deck, we have the Tower. It's like, I'm also seeing the Wheel of Fortune, and the Wheel of Fortune is like the middle point of the major arcana. So like it's really like a transition point between what used to be, or like the first half of something and the second half of something. Like really this radical change from like chapter 1 to chapter 2. So you guys are definitely like almost on the brink, like you are on the brink of it. I keep hearing like almost there, like almost. Wow. It's like there is this huge potential for this beautiful love and connection and honest, accepting, beautiful, powerful, vital. I keep feeling the need to like say a lot of different words, just like shooting words like that at you guys. But you guys don't really know what that would look like yet. And that's because of a lot of reasons, because you guys have not expressed how you feel or like what you want with each other. Perhaps like if you know how you feel about each other, it might be the case that you haven't like spoken about like commitment or something like that. There's definitely this need of trusting that you can have something beautiful with each other, that you can have something healthy with each other. Because we do have this love card, I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. It's like you both might have come from like very traumatic past relationships or like traumatic childhood. So you're like, your entire system is like on defense mode. Yeah, there might be a lot of defensiveness going on inside and like kind of like giving into these fears of like, what if it's the same? And what if this is another trap? And what if this is, what if they're not going to be careful with my heart? And what if they're going to not want to listen to me? What if they're going to think that I'm too intense? There's definitely, both these people have very, very intense feelings and very, very intense emotions and experiences of life and of each other and of this connection. But you might be reluctant or resistant. Like this might definitely be one of the reasons why you're reluctant or resistant to express your emotions, because they are so different than what is normal. That's kind of what I just heard. And they are so intense. Especially if this is a newer connection, if you have not spent a lot of time with this person, and if you realize that you don't really know this person that well because you haven't seen them that often, or you haven't talked that much, it might just sound absurd to them to hear how deeply and how passionately you feel for them and how deeply you desire to be with them. This is mutual, by the way. I'm saying it this way, but this is like the energy of the connection, so it's mutual, shared energy. But yeah, there's definitely this challenge for the both of you in this connection, and through this connection to, first of all, trust that it can be beautiful and healthy, and that it can be the love that you truly desire and that you feel and see the potential of inside of yourself and inside of this person that you deserve, essentially. But also that you have the power, that you have this strength and the power to create something beautiful with this person. So trust that it's possible, and trust in your ability to create this. Like you definitely might also both struggle with a little bit with like a solar plexus issues, if that makes sense. So like about like identity and self-worth and self-value and confidence and setting your boundaries and expressing your needs and your desires and your wishes. Just expressing your authentic truth, basically, because there's a lot about expressing. 5 is also the fifth chakra is also the throat chakra. See, there's so much about number 5. We literally have 5 here, 5 here, 5 here, 5 here, and the throat chakra, solar plexus. Like there's a lot about like communicating. So there's definitely something about like you guys just need to talk with each other, truthfully. That's something that is coming through very, very strongly. But let's see, let's dive a little bit more in depth. Yeah, I feel like perhaps there's a chance, and I also don't know because I lose track of time when I'm doing these readings. Listen, I'm a Virgo, Gemini rising, so I have a lot of things to say. I have a lot of things to say. That's why my readings are so long. And if you don't appreciate, I mean, if you're here at this point, you probably appreciate it, because I mean, I go in depth. Okay, there's a lot of details Shout out to all my Virgo placements out there. There's a lot of details to be uncovered. So I don't know why I'm saying this. I don't know why I'm saying this. That might be something that is relevant to your connection. Oh yeah, I wanted to say that I feel like there's so much more clarity about the situation, and even though there's like secrecy, I'm getting like Jupiter, Pluto, not Jupiter, well Jupiter might be significant, but I meant judgment card, so like something that is really on the brink of like coming out, like it's almost there, you guys, I'm fucking telling you. And you will know, I mean, if you guys have been telling you it's going to take a lot of time, then you should trust your guides. This is a general collective reading. And again, a short time or like almost in terms of actual days or weeks or months or whatever, like it will differ for everyone watching this. But there's definitely something about, you guys are almost there. Like I'm telling you, the previous piles were still like very much both in the middle of this cycle. And it was so hard to see the solutions. It was so hard to explain the energies. And that's because the people watching those readings, the people resonating with those readings are still kind of like in the middle of the fog. You guys are approaching the end of the foggy place. Like it's almost like there's no fog left anyways. It's like most of the fog has been cleared, and it's now just time to I just heard the word arise, to move together. You probably don't know what that looks like because I'm even stuttering as I'm saying this, but it's like the 5 energy, like there's so much change happening that has happened within the individual 2 of you, that now it's just time to apply the changes on the outside. Now it's just time to come together. It's like both of you have been working, and you still are. It's the never-ending work. But you both are kind of like working on becoming whole and healthy and centered individuals within yourselves. And that's awesome, because that's when you can indeed like create and co-create something that is beautiful and powerful, when you have 2 whole individuals coming together and be like, okay, listen, I'm whole in myself, but I want to be with you. It's not that I need something from you, literally. Like, of course you need connection, you need communication, you need vulnerability. That's just like a need within yourself. You don't need it from anyone in specific, especially from people who obviously cannot give it to you. So that's also like a discernment to make. Of course you can have needs. We do have needs. We all have needs for like belonging and to be listened, to be heard, to be seen, to be cared for affection, for physical touch, for like food and shelter. But you don't need it from any specific place. Like, and expecting someone or something to give you what you need, like kind of like putting the pressure on this one person to give you everything that you need is also like unfair to them, because they also have their own needs and their own priorities, and sometimes people need space, sometimes people need closeness, sometimes people, yeah, there's definitely this wondering about like how are we going to make this happen. But that's definitely something that you guys should talk about with yourselves, obviously. As I'm cutting the deck, I have the World and the Magician. It's all about willpower and manifesting something that you want. There you go, that's so awesome. Do we even need to pull cards? We're just gonna pull cards. So I want to take, for the sake of it, just 5 cards. Tell us a little bit more about this karmic cycle that they are resolving for pile 3. What is this karmic cycle, karmic pattern that they are meant to be resolving with each other? I keep looking at this card, love. Like, there's definitely a very pure love between the 2 of you. Perhaps you guys need to tell each other that you love each other. Oh, we have the 10 of Pentacles. Why is that so exciting? I don't know, but it feels really exciting. You guys might want to like build some type of community together, or like do some type of business endeavor together, or like create, I don't know, just like maybe buy a house or like set up something and do some gardening, whatever, get animals or something like that. What about this karmic cycle pattern that pile 3 is currently resolving with this person? And again, 10 is like the ending of cycle. So again, this is an extra confirmation that things have been moving in the right direction. We have the King of Cups. Yeah, kind of like observing. I recently got a King of Cups tattoo. I'm gonna show you guys because I'm very proud of it. Anyways, the King of Cups. Oh, we have the Queen of Pentacles at the bottom. But the King of Cups is all about leading from your heart. Leading from your heart space. And I feel called to mention that the King of Cups is like the fire of water. So like this very highly spiritual and spiritually aware and emotionally aware, but also grounded and steady type of energy. It's like, yes, acknowledge and welcome and embrace all of your emotions, but don't be dictated by them. Like, emotions can be things such as happiness and feeling super tender towards someone and feeling like all giddy and butterfly-ish with someone, but they're also like anxiety. I mean, I wouldn't call anxiety an emotion, But just for the sake of like this argument, you can have anxiety and sadness and frustration and all those other things. Like, yes, acknowledge all of them, but don't let the illusion that that's a reality like kick in. It's not true. Like, when you're happy, it doesn't mean that you're going to be happy forever, and it doesn't mean that everything that you have inside of you is just happiness. Of course you still have sadness like in some places of you. Of course you still have anger about certain things, but in that moment you're happy. And that doesn't mean forget about your happiness. It just means like, yes, enjoy your happiness and don't expect yourself to be happy for the rest of your life, for the rest of the day. Because shit happens. We are humans, and we are here to experience like the full spectrum. And that's the thing about the King of Cups, is like acknowledge and respect and honor the full spectrum of emotions, but don't drown in them. Like, you're not your emotions. You're not your thoughts. You're not your actions. You're a mix of all those things. And if you want to go a layer deeper, you're none of those things at all, and you just are. But, you know, that's a topic for another day. There's definitely some type of like spiritual awakening that you guys are in for. And I'm not getting a lot of information, but there's definitely like a huge potential for like this divine, beautiful love and spiritual awakening with each other. I just heard as powerful as the sun. Like, you might call each other sunshine or something like that, or just like see the sun in each other. But yes, there's definitely something about you guys learning how to, yes, be true to yourselves and to your emotions, but not let your emotions get the best of you. Because I feel like for a lot of you, like, there might have been like a lot of anxiety or a lot of just a lot of different emotions that individually might have like kept you from connecting with each other, or just like talking with honesty towards each other. Like, if you both struggle very much with anxiety, like, you might have just struggled with not telling how anxious you feel about this connection to the other person, because what if they judge me, and what if they feel burdened, and what if they this and this and that. So there's definitely this lesson that you both are learning separately and also together to work through your emotions and master your emotions. See, the King of Cups is also all about like mastery of emotions. But not like in a domineering or like in a controlling way. It's like, it's kind of like this nurturing of your emotions, but also not letting them paint your reality. Like, if you're scared, yes, honor and pour love into that fear and acknowledge that fear, because it's telling you something, but don't let yourself be fooled in thinking that your fear is real. Like, if you're scared of, I feel, okay, let me just pull more cards, because I feel like I'm talking a lot. We have Temperance and the Five of Coins. So Temperance, again, it's all about patience and divine timing. We have the Page of Swords. So what about this Five of Pentacles, though? Okay, wait. Before I pull cards. So Temperance, I was saying, and then I will move on to these other cards that are resurfacing. Temperance is definitely something along the lines of like, let go and let God. Like, there's this balance that you guys are also learning between putting in action and choosing, like leading from the heart space, like going after what it is that you want, but also not trying to force and control everything, like not micromanaging everything, not micromanaging this other person, nor yourself. Just let things flow and be as they are, and trust that you guys, like, trust in the other person's journey, and trust that you both can create something very, very beautiful together that is larger than the sum of your individual capabilities. And I'm seeing a butterfly at my door as I say this. So definitely a lot of rebirth going on individually within these two people. The Page of Swords. Yes, so this communication, I was getting already this feeling like at the beginning, and I was seeing the Page of Swords as I was shuffling, but there's something about this Page of Swords being like, I have so much to say, but I don't know how to say it, and I have so much to say, but I'm scared that I will be cut off, and I'm getting that for either both of you. This might be like a shared trauma that you guys have. You might have kind of like been raised to shut up, essentially, to like not speak your truth, to not speak about your emotions, or to like not give your opinion. You might have been shunned for... Yeah, there's an urgency for you both to speak. Like, you both feel this urgency to speak, but you're scared of speaking. And you might not know what to say. And there's also this feeling of, I have so many big things to say, so many big feelings to express, that I'm also not, I have no small talk left in me at this moment. It's kind of that feeling of, and I'm seeing the Magician again. It's kind of that feeling of, I currently am not saying anything, so like if you guys haven't been talking a lot, or only like if you have been like not really having any significant conversations, it's because once it starts, it's like the floodgates are open. Is that how you say it? The floodgates are open? Yeah, because it's like I either talk about the weather or I talk about the fact that I have this undying love for you and that I want to be with you for the rest of my life, like type of thing. There's no in between. And I definitely keep getting this sense of like things are being woven, and you guys probably are being challenged to have this important conversation. And I just cut the deck again, and I'm having the Eight of Swords and the Lovers. Gemini energy again might be significant because the Lovers, and we had Magician, and all this mirroring going on. But we do have Temperance, which is Sagittarius. King of Cups should be Scorpio. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, so what about this Five of Pentacles, please? Yeah, you both might have like fear of abandonment, and also like not necessarily fear of abandonment. Like abandonment trauma is not only about like my parent left and never came back when I was 4 years old, or like when I was 13, whatever. Like abandonment can and is more often than not energetical, like emotional abandonment. Like whenever as a child you might have like expressed an emotion and you were told to man up, or like you were told to just smile, or you were told to not like don't be anxious, like don't be like that, like don't act like that. This is kind of like the emotional abandonment that both of you might have struggled with. Also physical potentially, for sure, because that's also very real, but it doesn't have to be. There's definitely like the Five of Pentacles is all about like the feeling of being alone, whether physically or just like emotionally within yourself. And there's this timidness, this timidity. There's a timid energy to the both of you, of coming out of this isolation, because it's kind of almost like safer to stay in this kind of like to stay in your shell and not express yourself, because if you do express yourself, then there is a chance that the other person will either not understand or just like tell you that you shouldn't feel like that, or just like kind of counteract your arguments and like kind of dismiss your feelings. So it's almost safer to stay in this comfort zone, and this is what I feel like both of you have been dealing with. But especially the Bardo person, this is definitely something that this person is going through right now, which is, it could be you, but it's likely your person, that they are learning to come out of their shell, to come out of their like inner isolation. But it's so scary for them, because I mean, if they do express themselves, then they get vulnerable. Then they're like vulnerable to being hurt by you, either actively by something that you might say or not say, or you might at some point like reject them, or just like not like them anymore, not approve of them anymore. I don't feel like I need to take a clarifier anymore, because that clarified it pretty well. Let me sit with this another few seconds, because I feel like maybe I'm missing some things. Yeah, there's definitely a lot, like either, doesn't matter who you are, there's definitely a lot that you don't know about this person and about their past and their inner processes right now at this time, and like what they want and what they desire and their feelings and their experiences. Again, because you guys have not talked that much about your inner experiences. I feel like you might have talked like quite a bit about like these intimate, personal, emotional, deeper, darker things, but not enough. And I mean, what is enough? Like, you will never be able to like know a person fully and completely, and that's frustrating, that's magical, that's mystical, that is whatever you want to look at it. But yeah, there's definitely something, a very clear message about there's so much more to each other than what you're seeing, and there's so much more going on below the surface than what you're seeing. And if not much is happening right now between the two of you, it doesn't mean that nothing is happening like in the energetically within yourselves. It's almost like I'm seeing kind of like two I'm not an electrician, you guys, but like the two like electricity threads kind of like being put together and kind of like making a spark and making contact. So this is kind of what is happening between the two. Like both of you are like this thread, like a piece of thread, and the universe perhaps has like put you together, and then made, why can't I explain this? The universe is kind of like this Temperance vibes. It's like they took you and your person and they kind of like put you together, and there was this spark, and then it's kind of like, okay, this is intense. Okay, oh my god, it's kind of like testing the waters, testing the passion, testing the connection, testing the connectivity. So there have been glimpses of how beautiful and how deep and how safe this connection can be, but it's kind of like almost like you might have gotten scared, because it was so unusual and so new. But let me just pull more cards because I've been talking for a while about this. See, there's a lot of talking that you guys want to do with each other. And you guys might just also be worried about, yeah, judgment when it comes to communication. Like there's this fear about the words that you want to say to each other. But what is something that pile 3 and their person kind of like have to learn to do together? How to, like, what is it that they have to integrate? Yeah, we have the 8 of Swords, which came out a bunch of times. What else? What is it that needs to be integrated? How to move forward from this situation? For pile 3 and their person. We have the Knight of Swords. Yeah, so there's something about, like, don't keep things trapped in your mind. And I just saw the 3 of Cups. Don't keep things trapped inside of your mind. Don't keep yourself trapped inside of your own mind. You don't have to be in it alone. That's also something that I just like. You don't have to be in it alone. And there's something kind of like this need and this urge, like as soon as an emotion or like a worry or something arises, just go for it. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink what you have to say. Just say it. Because that will be so freeing for you guys. It just feels like such like a breath of fresh air and so much tightness from like my higher heart, which is kind of like below the throat chakra, kind of like releasing. Because there's a lot of things that are trapped in you guys' heart spaces. It's like you have all this love that you want to give and you want to share with each other, like on a soul level. This is not like your brain thinking it or something. This is literally just like the essence of who you are wants to embody and express all this love. Like you guys at a soul level, you guys just want to be in love with each other. Like you just want to be in this energy of love. That's like on a soul level. But there's also so much worry about the words that you gotta speak to each other. So there's definitely this message of don't hold it back. Don't hold back. Stop holding back and just be honest. Throw it out. Just say it. It doesn't have to make sense as long as the other person will understand like kind of what you're trying to say, or like write or do anything that can help you with like this immediate expression, because it just needs to flow. It just needs to flow and you're kind of like keeping it trapped inside of you. Like there's so much that you guys need to say to each other, and that's beautiful because you guys will soon have an opportunity to do that, but you have to create that as well. Like Spirit can send you all the trains that you want, but if you don't jump on the train, then you'll literally go to get nowhere. What else? And we have 2 more cards. Look at this shit, you guys. What the hell? We have the Queen of Cups in the bottom of the deck. And the High Priestess and the Nine of Swords. So that is interesting. I'm just going to put the Queen of Cups next to her spouse. So the other... Oh, we have the 4 of Cups in reverse and the 7 of Swords. So, yes. So trust in your ability to voice yourself as you need to. So it's interesting because this deck has a lot of like yellows and reds as well. But in this spread, we do have a lot of blue. There's something about you're not seeing everything right now, and that's okay. You're not seeing everything right now, and that's okay, because this is exactly where you need to be in order to move to the next step. Like you cannot get to point C if first you have not been on point B. Like it's like you guys are at point A and you're thinking like, oh my god, I need to be at point C because that's where I need to go. Like I need to be confident, I need to be talking, and it needs to be balanced, but you cannot get to point C if first you have not been to point B. So you first need to be at point A, then you take the next step and you get to point B, and then you can get to point C. Does that make sense? So it's this trust in the journey, and trust and accept that even the insecurity and even everything that we've spoken about, like the blockages about the communication, the blockages in the heart, like it's okay. This is literally what you're healing. This is something that you need to be experiencing. This is a real experience for you guys, and you're having the opportunity to heal that. First, before you can experience that actual healing, so before you're actually on the other side of the problem, if you will, you first need to go through the problem. You cannot like expect yourself to have healed something unless you face it, if that makes sense. So this discomfort that you guys both are feeling, and again, with all these 5s coming through, like literally we had a bunch of 5s in the previous part, and now we have like 5 here, and a 5, and another 5 essentially, well, 5 of coins. There's something about a middle point. Yeah, 5 is also the middle point of like from 1 to 10. something about the part of liminal space in between. Yeah, there's definitely something like imminent change. I'm fucking telling you guys, there's imminent change for this pile for sure. But you have to take action. Does that make sense? Like you have to take action whenever it can you guys see all the cards? Kind of. I guess I'm just gonna scooch that over a little bit, just like that. So you can, yeah, you can see it better. So don't worry if you don't see everything yet, either about this person or about how you're going to say things or about how things will play out. Don't worry about that because you literally cannot know. You have to go through the steps to find out, like fuck around to find out. It's half, like 50% divine timing and divine guidance and divine orchestrating, and 50% you putting in the work and putting in like your own willpower and taking actions. It's half masculine and feminine in the sense of like leading and taking action from your heart space and letting things happen as they need to. It's half taking action and going after what you want and not forcing anything, letting things be as they are. Trust that even the fact that you're not trusting right now is okay. Like every single thing that you are experiencing, it's fine, it's perfect. You don't have to change it. Of course, like you will benefit from trying to drop into more trust because that will give you more peace in the process. Like if you're seeing this person in 3 days and like you're worrying yourself to death like these 3 days, it doesn't, like the outcome won't change. Like you're still going to see this person then. The only thing that you can do is make sure that you center yourself and you calm yourself and you relax yourself, do the meditation, do the journaling, so that you're not kind of like eating yourself up from the inside in the weight. Does that make sense? I feel like this is something that you cannot truly sabotage. You can only make it harder for yourself. But at the same time, even if you make it harder for yourself, then like that's still fine. I'm getting that like it's all good, pile 3. Like literally, like it's all good. There's so much nervousness around this, and I'm telling you, pile 3, like your guides are coming through to say like it's all good. It's all good. I promise you, it's gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. You're doing so great already, like insanely. Like look at how far you've come. Look at how far you've come, pile 3. And I just saw 1555 as I just checked my, that is insane, you guys. What the hell? That is insane. When I was checking my timer. And yeah, and this high priestess coming through. I feel like it's nice if I put her there. It's this balance between light and dark and accepting both. And indeed just like, yeah, I was saying that quote of like, I don't remember exactly what it went like, but there's something along the lines of everything is perfect, including your desire for it to be different. Like, you're not doing it wrong, pile 3. You cannot do this wrong, because there is an element of destiny to this pile. But again, like, you also have free will. If at some point you're like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, then you can decide. You fucking decide, pile 3. You and this person. But of course, I'm also getting like, first you need to talk with this person to actually truly understand what you can create together with each other. Let me just sit for another second. I feel like that's it, but yeah, the high priestess is also all about just like letting things happen and trusting the universe and letting go and letting God, essentially, and just like observing. And there's always an element of secrecy to the high priestess, and that's because you don't know, like you are a little dot of a human. You are one singular individual point of view in this universe that has literally like infinite possibilities and infinite explanations and infinite points of views and perspectives on infinite things. So like there's always going to be things that you don't have access to, and that's fine. Like you don't need to have access to all the information at all times. So yeah. Let me take some starseed oracles. And I'm feeling called to guide. Like if you have been, I'm feeling called to guide. I'm feeling called to give the guidance that, are we still rolling? Yeah, I just checked. that if you have been thinking about reaching out to this person, you can. You don't have to. Like, literally, it doesn't matter. Like, you will know. Just, like, consult your own guides to know if it's something that would be productive right now or not, to just reach out to your person and say whatever. There is definitely this thing about, like, be authentic and just be honest about what you want to say. Like, don't try to strategize what you want to say if you're going to reach out at all. If you have been receiving the guidance, like, let this person come to you, then I'll also definitely trust that. It will differ for everyone. For some people, you will need... And again, that's just going to be like the guidance that you have been receiving from your own guides and from the universe and the synchronicities all along, and something that you know that is good for you to integrate at this time. So if you are someone who actually needs to reach out more, probably you know that that's what you have to do. But if you're someone who, on the other hand, has been called to letting things be and dropping the reins a little bit and letting this person do their thing and letting them come whenever they're ready, then definitely trust that guidance too. So you will know what to do. High Priestess, all about intuition. You will know what to do with the information that you have at hand at this time. So what is some advice for pile? There you go. Ah! So we have the Great Severing, Mars energy, anger, conflict, softening to love. So there's definitely this invitation to soften, to choose gentleness and kindness and calm in this situation. I'm not getting for a lot of you that, I mean, it could be the case that you guys have been having hard times, like, communicate or whatever, but I'm not getting it for a lot of you. This is just about, like, softening to love and finding that softness within you and bringing softness in this connection. Because at this time, that's even more important than... I feel like you're really just being called to soften into the connection and to drop the worries and all those things. Like, just choose love at this time. And then, like, on other points, it will be more important to, like, kind of, like, set your boundaries and be strong within yourself and put your foot down and be like, listen, this is me, and whatever. But right now, the guidance, take it if it resonates. The guidance is to be, like, soften into this connection and letting this connection be beautiful. And then we also have Will and Orca Elders. Share your song, frequency of sound, diving deep. Yeah, there's something about, like, sharing your voice again. So what else? One more for pile 3. Some guidance or advice for this connection. Yeah, you got the love. Hadrian energy, codependency, boundaries. Definitely be aware of. This is like boundaries within yourself. If you don't want to do something, you don't have to. The Seas of Mintaka, seeing potential, bringing unconsciousness to light. Okay, I want to take one more. So you guys definitely might be resonating with, like, watery... Did we have these cards in other piles too? Cracked open, rock bottom, surrender to the alchemy of life. Yes, surrender. This surrender and trust that everything, which doesn't mean inaction. Surrender is just like take things as they are and follow your own inner guidance and your own inner system and go for what you want from a place of love, but don't force anything. Whatever will be, and whatever is meant for you will find you. And now we take some Rebel Deck Oracles to close off. So this one. Eat your effing vegetables. Eat some shit made by Mother Nature. So yeah, definitely some of you might be called out to eat a little healthier at this time. Perhaps cook this person a meal. Cook this person like a hearty meal or something like that. Some advice for pile 3 in this situation, please. What advice do you give for pile 3? There you go. Detox. Drink a smoothie, unfriend that asshole, and throw some shit out. Then we have F. Ish is about to get real. Exactly. And then F word, you need your people around you. Yeah, definitely find also comfort in, like, I just heard your gal pals, your girlfriends, and just also enjoy connections on the outside of this connection and don't make this connection like your main focus in life. So what is other? Ask an effing expert. Don't rely on your friends on the internet. Listen to a damn professional. Yeah, this is also to say, take these readings. If you have been, like, obsessively watching readings about this person, maybe that's also just a sign, like, you know everything that you need to know anyways. And don't, like, if anything, if you feel called to, hire, like, a personal reader so that you don't have to, like, rely on collective reading, so that you have some a little bit more specific messages. Pile 3, I think that's it. Why am I hesitating? Do I need to say anything else? No, I think that's it. Pile 3, that's it for your reading today. Thank you so much for being here. I really love this reading. I hope it brought you some type of insight that you were hoping or needing for... I can't talk. So definitely, as per usual, feel free to leave a comment down below. Letting me know how this resonated. As per usual, it means everything to me to know how my readings land on the other side of the screen. And also feel free to leave a like and subscribe, as that really helps with the algorithm. And thank you so much for being here. And I will see you in the next one.